Well, then you're all Muppets. To the click. Hello. Maybe some people tapped. What if they're on the phone? Since we're here. If this streams end up being a complete, absolute havoc, don't say I didn't warn you. It's gonna be havoc. It's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be a mess, noble ones. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Cartago delenda est. You know, watch me title tomorrow's stream. Feeling cute might burn Cartago to the ground later. Watch me call it like that. Hello, noble ones. Cartago's down. No chivalry 2 yet. Maybe in the future with my crossbowman. Hello, noble ones. Welcome back. Welcome to the channel. Welcome. I warned you. You're still here. It's gonna be a mess. So, how you doing today? How you doing? How are you? Apoc says, I woke you up. Haha. Well, that makes you woke. Pax Romana, says Eduardo. Pax Romana, my friend. How was that one? Sic pacem parabellum. If you want war, if you want peace, prepare for war. How about that one? Saint Nicholas calls me the meta woke. You're incorrect. I'm the wokotron. Please, I expect accuracy here. It's meta chud. That's the one. Hey, Matthew. Weni, weedy, wiki. You muppet. I mean, think about it. That very statement in Latin, veni, vidi, vici, it sounds good, but doesn't it just complete it to say veni, vidi, vici? You muppet. It's just perfect. It's perfect that way. It is perfect. Hey, Dax File, so good to have you here. So, yeah, I mean, it's excellent. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking when they came out. It's like it's incomplete. Veni, vidi, vici. Then what? Greetings. Yeah. Life of Brian. We might watch some Life of Brian, my friend. Ernia. What are we doing today? What are we not doing today, Apoc? It's gonna be a memorial stream, and it's gonna be insane, and I'm gonna leave it up so that people can clip it. Let's go. Good movie? Oh yeah, it's a great movie. It's really funny. How are things on Twitch over there? How's everyone on Twitch? You behaving, lads? Alex the History Guy published a good one. Who's Alex the History Guy? Is that the actual name of the channel, or is it because you don't remember the name of the channel? You also do react to how something shall be armed. Ooh, that would be nice. Maybe we'll do that later. That's a good idea. Hey, Mario. Good to have you here. Thank you. Mario van Dijk. As someone who's lived in Japan, any recommendation? I'm here in Japan for a month. I would say maybe stick to... don't go around too many cities. I know you're probably tempted to be like, oh, I want to see Okinawa, Hokkaido, Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, Yokohama. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, Yokohama and Tokyo are very close, and so are Kyoto and Osaka. Kobe is kind of that area too, but I would be careful because if you end up, I've seen people do that. Like they're gonna stay at least a month is decent, but I've seen people 2 weeks and they visit 14 cities. Okay, that's 1 day per city, so you've seen nothing of those cities. So I would say at least spend a decent amount of time per city, and maybe even like 4 days. Of course, you know, if you have a favorite city, spend more time there. But I'm saying, please more than 1 day per city. That's one thing I would say. There is an excellent connection between Tokyo and Osaka with the bullet train, the Shinkansen. It's a bit expensive though, so it kind of depends on your budget. Yeah, the pyramids, guys, the pyramids. It's driving me nuts. The it's a gift that keeps on giving. That's what it is. 100 US dollars. Yeah, but I think yeah, something like that. I thought it was like 130, 140. I thought that's what I remembered. It's a little expensive. You know, it depends. Depends on your budget. You look like a dark wizard. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Any news on the pyramids? Define news. Define news, my friend, because stuff that is being said constantly. Now, whether that qualifies as news or not. Good day, Legetu. So good to have you here. So, by the way, yesterday night I went live again. It's just that I went live just for some casual gaming. And so when that happens, it's around 11:30 p.m. Central. And I usually do that on Twitch, multi-streaming on the gaming channel. And we played a little Oblivion. And then we also played some Alien Trilogy for PlayStation 1 in honor of the pyramids. And goodness gracious, that was great. PlayStation 1 graphics, I don't know what it is, but it's phenomenal. And so is the super chat that I just received. Thank you so much, Marwords. I'm once again asking you to check out the ancient Egyptian vases from Uncharted X. Ancient Egyptian. So is Uncharted X a channel? Or is it like, what is it? Let me see. Yes, it is a channel. Uncharted X, Ancient Precision confirmed. Well, that does look rather astonishing. I'll give him that. So basically, that's what you're talking about. Channel Uncharted X. Never seen it, to be honest, so I don't know if it's a good channel, a bad channel, a great channel, fantastic channel, phenomenal channel, alien channel. I don't know. Astonishing results. More ancient Egyptian granite vases analyzed. More STLs available. Well, that looks interesting. I'm always fascinated by the precision of the ancients. So we might check this out. We might check this out. I see we got a wild Joe Rogan up here and a Flint. So what's up with that picture? What's up with that picture? Anyways, we'll have a look at it. We'll have a look at it. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll just gonna keep the tab here. We've got a few other tabs, as you noticed. We're gonna have some fun today. Metal Gear Solid is my favorite PS1 game. I played it a little bit the other day, Native. Thank you, Jonathan, for supporting the stream. Let's go! Don't click this and follow the rules, truth teller. Yeah, let's go for truth supremacy, guys. We're all supremacists here, truth supremacists. Daniele Fabbro. What a cool name you got. I gotta give you that. Daniel Blacksmith. That's his name in Italian. Since we are in theme, why not House of Ashes? House of Ashes. I don't know, maybe, yeah. I mean, theme is what it is. There is no theme, but we'll see what happens, I suppose. I suppose. Let me have a look. So, yeah, quite a lot of stuff to do. Got a lot of stuff to do, my friends. And as you see, I've been streaming a lot, and my idea now is basically to stream, as I said on the thumbnail. I put it on the thumbnail so that it stays there. If people find the stream later, I often get comments, people saying, oh, I wish I was there, I didn't know. So now it's going to be on every thumbnail. And I'm going to stick to a schedule, at least I'll try. Do keep in mind I'm a Southern Italian, so if I say 5, it doesn't mean that if it's 5:01 it's not gonna happen. If I say 5, it means I'm gonna appear. A Metatron is gonna spawn between 5 to 5:20. You know, that's Southern Italian time, right? Well, it's not Southern Italian, it's Central Standard Time with a Southern Italian twist. Hey, how about that? That sounds good. Baby Yoda 69, thank you for the support. Any tips for driving in Sicily for the first time? Sicily's got pretty decent. I mean, unless you're trying to drive to Agrigento, that's going to be a bit difficult. I would avoid that. But if, in general, if you're driving around, I mean, yeah, the motorway is all right. But then again, driving in big cities like Palermo, you need to arm yourself with a lot of patience. It's like a jungle out there. It's a jungle. There are no rules. There are, like, suggestions, polite suggestions. But yeah, so the that's what I was saying. The idea is Monday to Thursday, regular streams, 5 Central Standard Time. You'll always find me here. And then on Fridays, we have another stream still at 5, but that one is going to be for members, meaning that everyone can join. I'm still going to leave it open, but the chat is going to be restricted to channel members, which is also what I do at the last 30 minutes of every stream, just to say thank you to the members. I did notice someone in the comments the other day noticing that the last 30 minutes were for members only. Maybe that's when they joined. And when I say members only, I'm only talking the chat, because everyone can stay and watch. And they were saying, oh, why are you putting it behind a paywall? But I'm not, because I used to stream once a month. Now I stream 20 times a month. It's just that I thought that since I'm doing 20 streams a month, giving 4 dedicated to people that are supporting the channel is a nice way to say thank you. But the other 16 are still completely open. So yeah, that's the way I look at it. I don't see as, I think something is behind a paywall when it's something that you normally would have done, but then you want money for it. And I don't like that. But when you are putting out extra and then you put the extra as something you want, I think at that point, it's kind of a different perspective. Accidentally click, says Wirotto. You need proof. You need proof for that. Say Nicholas says, traffic law in Italy, don't crash. Absolutely. Obey cops when they are looking at you. No, that's more of an American thing. Honestly, I'm more intimidated by American cops when I'm driving than I am by Italian police officers. So there's that. Lon says, haha, I clicked. What shall you do? I'm going to ban you for it. Can you imagine? I'm joking. If I banned every person who clicks today, it's like career offing yourself, career S, ban everyone. It's like, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's mad. He's gone mad, completely wild. It would be like crazier the Wings of Redemption. Wings of Redemption banning everyone that disagreed. I would ban everyone who joins my streams. How about that? It's like the stream, it would be a whack-a-mole, because then more people would appear and I will keep banning, right? And then more people appear and I ban and appear and I ban. Eventually, I guess, there will be no one left. Oh my gosh. Ban everyone for 5 minutes as a joke. Man, if there was a way to do it, it's just the reason I would have to do it one by one. There is no way to like ban all of your subscribers. Yeah, my gosh. I mean, you can always nuke your channel, like what's his name did. It's insane. Gosh, what's his name? Review Tech USA. He nuked his entire channel, 1 million subscribers. That was the craziest thing. You know when they say don't let your haters get under your skin? That is a perfect example of what not to do when faced with haters. It was crazy. I used to watch the guy, you know. Now he only streams, which I mean, his streams are successful and he's doing well with his streams. I'm good for him. Good for him. But yeah, the fact that he completely nuked the channel just because it's oh my gosh, that was crazy. That was crazy. And I would tell him like directly, like it's not like I'm speaking about him. I sometimes we interacted a little bit in the streams. I would tell him that, but it is what it is. Apoc says it's a good way to get rid of botted subs and dead accounts with a million channel. No, no, not with like if you have a smaller channel and somehow it got run, you know, run off bots, or maybe if people bought subscribers, which is a stupid move, and now you think you're like blacklisted, then sure, nuke it and start fresh. But when you hit a million and you have so many videos and back catalog, it's insane. It's insane. Letizia Rocca, hey Metatron, my last name Rocca is from Italy, absolutely. May I have some land there? Yeah, there are a lot of Rocca there, è vero, it's true, yeah, that's true, because it's like, yeah, Rocca does mean rock, but it also means like, it's not just rock, because rock is more roccia. A rocca is specifically, it is used in names, locations. The idea is like a big mountainous or like a rocky area. Totally. It's a cool name. Bad Drivers of Italy, it's a channel dedicated to that, Daniele? That's insane. It would be like the entire population almost. Hey, Mr. Kenos. Hi from Portugal. Hello. Bon dia. Bon dia. What's an affordable and good place to visit in Italy? If you want affordable, I would suggest the south. Sicily is very affordable, very cheap. Naples is pretty cheap as well. When you start going like to Rome, Venice, Florence, it's gonna be super expensive. But then again, it depends where you come from the world, because if you're used to prices in New York or California, then it's still gonna be cheaper from your perspective. It kind of depends, I suppose. How do I feel about the Anunnaki? Oh gosh, I don't know how I feel about the Anunnaki. The real question is, how do the Anunnaki feel about you? Boa noite. Oh, that's right, because it's like night in Portugal, is it? In Europe in general, it's already night. Yeah, Rocca like a fortification. Yeah, it's fine. It's a good translation as well. Rocca, yeah. Kind of depends on where you use it. I had a kid in my school whose last name was literally Drinkwater. Bevilacqua. That's right, it is a surname. Drinkwater. Bevilacqua. Yeah, I haven't got a clue where that one comes from. I don't know why we're talking about rocks. Oh, because one of the subscribers had a surname that kind of has that connotation, but as they were pointing out, it also means like a bastion, like a little bit of a fortification. That's true. No, I've never visited Egypt, Lane. Maybe now would be a good time to visit it. Sneak in, dig, and see what happens. Man, I would go there. I would do a live stream. You would see like live stream from. You would all think I'm trolling, and then you click, ha ha ha, Metatron, you got me, and then I'm there. I'm in there, like with the shafts. They're like turning around with the glass. Woo, woo, they're glowing. I'm like, guys, I'm here. They're coming for me. Wow. Bevilacqua is quite common in central Italy. Is it more common there? I see. Especially in Tuscany, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think I've heard it, but have I ever met someone named Bevilacqua in Sicily? Maybe once. Maybe. Yeah, because it's kind of crazy how some surnames are just city names. You could have just the name of a city as a surname. I guess it happens maybe in all. Well, I don't know. Does it happen in all languages though? Because yeah, your surname could literally be Messina, Palermo, Firenze. Like it can be a surname. I guess the origin of that would be probably sometimes in either like for instance in the Middle Ages, maybe an ancestor of yours moved somewhere from a specific city, and whatever location where they were living, they refer to that person with the name of the city they were coming from as a way to identify that the ancestors were coming from that area. It kind of a like, it's Mark from Florence, it's Mark from Florence, Mark from Florence, Mark Florence. You know, it's very likely that that's how it originated. It is interesting, though, how a lot of surnames come from nicknames. And at the end of the day, the tria nomina in Latin, the last name, which would be the surname, the cognomen, if you will, that is oftentimes just like an identifier based either on the looks or a characteristic of the person. So it is a nickname given because of the way someone looks or something that they have done, like Scipio Africanus. They gave him Africanus because of the victories that he did in Africa. Differently from, believe it or not, people in the comments have told me his name is Africanus because he was black. They did say that. Of course, that's nonsense, because then Germanicus would be a German. Seriously, for like the guy who went and studied, you know, what he did against the Germanic tribes, it was anything but. But regardless of that, yeah, a lot of names come from that, so it's fascinating. Kind of makes you think, why is Smith such a common name in England, and why is Rossi, meaning reds, such a common name in Italy, like in the north? Who knows? Who the heck knows, my friends? Yeah, Giallo, I am De Angelis, yeah, of the angels. Literally come from an angelic family tree. Sounds like it. Yeah, it's all the same. It's all like a Smith, right? Probably some ancestors, I would imagine, working the tools, making the good business end of the axe. Of the axe. They had a lot of metal in the UK, so lots of Smiths. You know what? I've been thinking of producing a video about the availability of iron in the Middle Ages, and then discuss how it was in England and how it was in other countries. It's just that it's taking a lot of time to research. The information is there, by the way. It's fascinating. It is really interesting. But I do know that I'm going to produce it, and then the YouTube is going to be like 10 out of 10, Grey Arrow, horrible job. But we'll see. Yeah, tin. The tin and silver, and in general the metal availability was the reason why first Julius Caesar was like, I want Britannia, and then Claudius is like, I'm getting Britannia. Thank you, Baby Yoda, for supporting the stream. I miss Sicily. I can't wait to go back and have granita for breakfast and horse meat for dinner. Yeah, granita, as I say, horse meat is very Eastern Sicilian, but granita is definitely something I miss myself. It's basically a slush. Slush? How do you spell it? S-L-U? I think it's S-L-U, a slush. It's basically like it's ice flavored with, and it's phenomenal. Like the way we make it in Sicily, no one else. It's great. And in Western Sicily, the most common granita would be the lemon one. To be fair, even though I'm from Western Sicily, the best granita is in the East, I'll have to be fair. And they make it in either, you can find it lemon as well, but the typical one is gelsi. Gelsi meaning mulberry, and it's excellent. I fish in a tie. Thank you for the support. Jesus tells Mary not to touch him because he hasn't ascended yet, but tells Thomas to touch him. Did Jesus ascend and return between Mary and Thomas? That is a phenomenon. I never thought of it that way. That's very interesting. I would imagine, yes. That would be basically the only interpretation that would make logical sense in that situation. Exactly. Yeah, I did play Michelangelo a little bit of Rise, Son of Rome back in the day. Never really finished it. I should play it on stream one of these nights. Sounds good in the Italian heat. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And as you say, in the morning, the way we actually eat it is you order a granita, and right next to it, you order what we call brioche. It's like a brioche, but it's the way we make them in Sicily. We also put ice cream in it. Let me show you. Ooh, today is Sicily Day. Let me show you. Brioche Siciliana. I want to show you what I'm talking about here. There we go. So basically, it's this kind of brioche that you see here. The top left is really the best, and you can put, typically in Sicily, ice cream is eaten inside the brioche. That's how it is. It's the typical Sicilian way of eating ice cream. Forget the cone, forget the little cups. I mean, you can, people do. But this is the way a Sicilian eats his ice cream. Inside this. And it's sweet, of course. It's not just regular bread, it's sweet. It's a brioche. And yeah, you can fill it with ice cream, or if you want, you can eat it together. Like you have a granita, so you have a piece of brioche, a little bit of granita, piece of brioche, a little bit of granita. It's phenomenal breakfast in Sicily. It's really good. Man, I miss it. My wife loves it too. Whenever we go to a cafe and we order una granita e una brioche, per favore. Buonissimo. Letizia asks, does Giorello last name come from anywhere you know? No, I have no idea, to be honest. Never heard it. It doesn't mean that of course it exists, I'm sure. I just never ran into it, so I wouldn't really know. I always break my pasta before boiling them, says the Teutonic Order. Of course you do. You're Teutonic. You have no idea how to use pasta, how to make pasta. Hey there, last call, W. Troy Pacelli. Thank you so much for being a member for 6 months. Man, that's commitment. We have lemon granita in Chicago. Tony's Lemonade. I didn't go into city anymore. I miss it. You should. Well, nice. Next time. I've never been to Chicago. If I do, I'll go check it out. 100%. It sounds good. The only thing is that, and I think, if you're American watching this, I'm sure you'll understand. You'll agree. Because Americans usually are very patriotic, but at least you guys are fair when you point something out. I'm afraid that the granita I'm gonna eat in America is gonna be with chemicals and added flavors, whereas I know for a fact that the granita traditionally made, artisanally made in Sicily is gonna be 100% natural, and it's gonna be like the way the tradition wants you to make it. It's just one thing about back home. Sorry, Kristen. Now you got me craving brioche siciliana. Lo so. And cannoli. Did you know that cannoli is plural, by the way? Singular is cannolo. Cannoli is plural. So actually, I saw an influencer one day on TikTok or Instagram, whatever the heck, and they were like, we called our dog cannoli. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Should be cannolo. It's one, unless you have multiple dogs. Then one cannolo, one cannolo, one cannolo. All 3 dogs together, cannoli. That's, same with panini. Panini is plural. Panino is singular. I'm giving you some Italian lessons here. While we're at it, since cannolo is a Sicilian specialty, and it is a Sicilian thing, this is a very common way for cannoli to be presented and enjoyed in Sicily, and also they should not have the chocolate inside. The cannoli that have the chocolate inside are cannoli that we specifically produce in Sicily to ship them. So you don't traditionally put the chocolate inside, and the only reason why they do is so that as you ship it, since it's going to take a few hours to another city, then it doesn't get soggy with the ricotta cheese. But traditionally, cannoli do not need to have an inside of chocolate, and that's how we eat them. Not everyone likes the little cherry in here, so you can eat them without that if you don't like it. But yeah, that's a cannolo siciliano. That's the truth. The truth, guys, about the cannolo siciliano with ricotta cheese. And it has to be made with ricotta. If they make it with something else, some will do, but it's supposed to be ricotta. So yeah. So Jesus may have left his earthly body behind, says I Fish. Well, I don't know if I would go that. I mean, then it becomes very speculative. Probably not. I don't think that's how I would interpret it, no. Personally, but that's just me. Viva la Sicilia, Cristina di Cali. Or di Cali. Will I ever make a video on Cosa Nostra? No, not really. Not really interested in making a video about it. I promise Tony's is fresh and natural, though I don't know how authentic it is. Okay, well, that's good to know. That's a good point on them then. If I ever go to Chicago, I'll let you know if it's traditional or authentic, or how similar maybe it would be to where I'm from. But I'm just telling you, even if you go to a different region in Italy, the granita doesn't taste the same. So I'm gonna be very, very bitchy about it, and my dog is losing his mind. Do you prefer it with or without chocolate? Without. Red Bull, absolutely without. I don't think it needs any chocolate in it. Good job, Noble Muppet, says Legato. Let's see. Oh, cannoli is a dog with multiple personalities. Yeah, multiple personality disorder. Then I guess sure. Ben asks, how would you pronounce? Okay, that's pronounced calzone. 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 I know that like Italian Americans sometimes pronounce it calzone, and that's how I hear Americans pronounce it, which I mean, fine. Italians butcher English all the time, me included sometimes. But if you do want to know how it's pronounced, it's calzone. So you have to pronounce the whole thing. Calzone. Yeah. I think the chat got stuck. Did the chat get stuck? Well, let me refresh it. All right, good. Thank you and God bless you, sir. Absolutely, I fish in a tie, and thank you very much for the support. I appreciate that. What do you think about the north-south economic divide in Italia? Well, it is what it is. I mean, it's a recent phenomenon. The fact that like Milan is richer, it's a recent phenomenon. During the Kingdom of Two Sicilies, during the Kingdom of Two Sicilies, the south was richer. So yeah, who knows how it's gonna be in 200 years? Mario, se bastasse una bella calzone. Well, it would be un bel calzone because calzone is masculine. But I know you're referring to the song Se bastasse una sola canzone. Because that one is canzone. Pretty good though. That was good. How far does pizza go in history? Kind of depends. Of course, if you mean pizza in the modern sense, so the most common, the one that most commonly has tomato sauce, we can't go further back than the discovery of America due to tomatoes being from America. But then again, if you want to look at stuff that it's perhaps it doesn't have the sauce, but it has other things like cheese, oh, then you can go back to ancient Rome and ancient Greece. Absolutely. So yeah. Have you ever seen the TV series Marco Polo? I tried watching it a little bit, but it didn't really click with me, and I think I lost interest very quickly, and I started doing something else with my time. How do you feel about chicken on pizza? Unnecessary. And also chicken in pasta. Here in America, it's like they put chicken everywhere. I don't like it. Whenever, even if it's a day when my wife strangely convinces me to try the and eat the what is it called, Alfredo sauce, I still tell them, yeah, but no chicken, please. No, without chicken I can eat it. It's nice, but the chicken is just personally I don't like it. Is granita fruit ice or another name for gelato? No, it's a different thing. It's a slush. Slush, if you wanna. That's a granita. Well, 1 second, because yeah, that one is a good example. Kind of like this. So it looks, it's loading. There we go. It looks like ice. This is with lemon, and as you can see, brioche right next to it. Couple of fresh lemons. This is a granita siciliana, and yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see if I can show you granita al gelso. That's the mulberry one, siciliana, but they do it really well in the east of Sicily. If you want to try this one, the mulberry, then I suggest try eastern Sicily, Catania, but everywhere really. I think everywhere in the east is gonna make it very, very well. On the west coast, do you guys eat fresh ricotta for breakfast too? Not for breakfast, no. But we do eat it on pasta, or you can eat it as is. Ricotta is typical, yeah. But I wouldn't really eat it for breakfast. Oh, unless it's like a cannolo, then I can have a cannolo for breakfast, and that one does have the ricotta with sugar. In that form, then yes. Or any other, like for instance, if it's inside a cassata, which is another typical Sicilian dish. Cassata siciliana, which is this. This is a cassata. And it's the inside is once again ricotta cheese, and then this is kind of a very sugary frosting that I have no idea how they make. I know how to eat it, I don't know how to make it. But when you see something green in Sicily, it's a traditional cassata. And this is cassata al forno, which is like oven baked. There are other types. Have you heard of the Finder's Cult? No, I haven't. What is it? Jew Marshall. Is tiramisu pretty much a type of cheesecake? Sort of, but it has the biscuit as the baseline, so it's kind of different. It's a coffee based, and you know what it means in Italian? Tiramisu. It means lift me up. I imagine because of the caffeine content, so you get a little, you can wake up a little bit. My cousin makes a killer tiramisu, homemade. I have a friend who went to Sicily and he was in love with the seafood spaghetti. Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like with clams, spaghetti with tomato sauce and spaghetti with clams, it's typical. And I personally don't like it because I don't eat anything out the sea, exception being tuna. But a lot of people love it. A lot of people love it. Or sea urchin, pasta with sea urchin. Yeah, I remember. I want to tell you one thing now. I told you this stream was gonna go nuts. I told you not to click. So, if you guys absolutely must have heard of Katori Shintoryu Kenjutsu, the style, and you're like, where is he going with this? You'll see. So Katori Shintoryu. Let me Google it. There we go. So this is a type of traditional kenjutsu, and it's from the 16th century, and it's a phenomenal style. It's my favorite style. I practice it for some time in Sicily, and it has several sort of like schools, if you will. One of which is the Sugino style, and the Sugino style now has been, that's the style that I was practicing, and now let me see if I can see Sugino Sensei. I'm looking for a picture of the current head of the school. Sugino Sensei. Let me see if I can find him. Sugino Sensei, like not the granddad, but I'm talking about the current Sugino Sensei. Where I can't. Yeah, I think that's him. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, there we go. That's him. That's him. So Sugino Sensei came to Sicily while I was practicing it. And here I was his personal translator. So I translated for him because I speak Japanese fluently, and I translated his entire lessons. But then I also took him out for dinner, for lunch, and would translate anything he needed. I was basically his guide, if you will. Mostly on the linguistic side, because other people from the dojo were actually choosing where to go, what to visit, what churches to show him. But yeah, I was the only one who spoke Japanese, so I was translating everything for him. There was one time when I couldn't go one morning, and he kept asking for me, like, where's the guy that speaks Japanese? Where's the guy that speaks Japanese? So then they called me, like, could you come here, please? So I went, immediately dropped what I was doing, wanted to be respectful. And so, yeah, I went there. Anyways, he absolutely loves Sicilian pasta with urchin. It's called uni in Japanese. Oh, he loved that. He loved that. So he loves the seafood in Sicily, Sugino Sensei. At one point, I was going to show a picture that I took with him, and then I wanted to discuss the experience of translating for the head of a school, and like receiving all the information in Japanese and then telling all the students what he was saying on the spot. And how difficult, it actually wasn't difficult. He was probably, and I'm not saying because, yeah, I'm fluent in Japanese. I'm not going to pretend, be like fake humble. I am fluent in Japanese. However, he was also really good at explaining. And so even though the stuff that he was explaining was quite deep, the way he was explaining it made it really, I've never had, probably one of the easiest translation jobs in my life. And that was like a 2.5 hours lesson. And then every time we went around, I would translate for him. I wanted to share it on the channel and post the pictures on my social media, but for some reasons Sugino Sensei is strongly against social media, and that's a little bit of a stance when it comes to Katori Shintoryu. They're very private, and I had to respect that. So I didn't post anything. That's why you don't know that all of this happened. I guess I could make a video talking about the experience. Maybe one day I will, but I wouldn't be able to show any pictures because I asked him directly. I said, Sensei, would you mind if I post the pictures we took together on my social media? And he said, no, don't do it. So I'm like, okay. I had to respect that at that point. You know, it's a matter of... it's just how they are. Katori Shintoryu, as I say, it's very private in the way they share their techniques. They don't like it when people make videos. In fact, that's why the only videos you see are videos from the freaking 80s. And occasionally you have videos that are like approved, but it's very rare. And that happened. So now you know. Now you know. So yeah. Where did you study Katori Shintoryu? Sicily or Japan? In Sicily. In Japan, I studied Kendo. In Japan, I was practicing Kendo every Tuesday. Was it Tuesday my day off? Tuesday or Wednesday? I don't even remember. Anyways, I had a day off from work, and so I would go and practice Kendo. I loved it. It was fun. And then on the other day off, when our boss decided you'll now have 2 days off, I don't know, it was a miracle from Buddha. When he did that, then on the second day I started practicing Katori Shintoryu. And then when I stopped practicing Kendo, both days I would go practicing, sorry, not Katori, I apologize, Kyokushin Karate. Katori I did in Sicily. Kyokushin Karate, that's what I practiced twice a week for a year, which was fun, but man, it hurts. Man, it hurts. I'm not very good, I'll tell you that much. I mean, I put in the work, not a very good karateka. It freaking hurts. Katori Shintoryu, compared to other styles that are like semi-contact or like light contact, Katori was, ooh, it was, yeah, you go home with actual bruises. Baby Yoda, thank you for the support. In the small rural town my nonna is from, they eat fresh warm ricotta for breakfast and like a soup form. Never seen in my life. One time someone did put sugar on it for me. Maybe it could be like, as you say, a little rural village somewhere. Sicily is very... There is a lot, it's very diverse when it comes to culture, language, dialects. We're all Sicilian, but the way we do stuff and even the food will change. You will be able to find arancine everywhere, the rice bowls. That's another typical thing in Sicily, fried rice bowls. But the way they look and taste is different from various areas. Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that, like, I've never heard it. Did you do weight training? I did for a year and a half, and I actually did get some good results, but then I stopped. Today I did, though. I started again, so we'll see. I really need to do that. The Metatron, that's me. Absolutely. Cheese in soup is underrated. You know, professional biologists, one type of soup that I really like is in French cuisine is onion soup. I don't know why you reminded me of that, but we found a French restaurant with my wife not too far from here, and we went and they make these French soups, and we went because we watched Ratatouille, the cartoon, and it was very, very, very nice. And then we wanted to eat French food, and so we found this place, and we ordered the onion soup, and it was, oh, it was good. And quiche. I had onion soup and quiche. Ooh, that was great. Quiche Laurent, I think it was. Man, it was great. I need to convince my wife to go. Well, I just need to tell her. I don't need to convince her. Anytime I tell her, do you want to go out for lunch? She loves it. Whether we're in Italy or whether we're in America, she loves it. Yeah, I know, Giallo. In Italian, sugino pronounced just like that, it means a little pasta sauce. You're correct. That's what it means in Italian, yeah. It's spelled differently, but if you pronounce it like that and ditch the pitch for a moment, yeah, that's what it means. You miss your mother's arancini, you should make them. I imagine from the East, because in the West, we call them arancine. In the West, it's feminine. In the East, it's masculine. Arancini, arancine, where I'm from. Let me see. Marco Polo show was so inaccurate historically. It doesn't surprise me, Hagop, on Twitch. Sorry if it took me forever to read your... Urchin sounds too strong for me, says Legetu. Yeah, as I say, I don't like it, but man, he loved it. He kept talking about it, and then he liked that coffee, which I was impressed, because usually in Japan, I noticed that whenever we would serve, because I worked as a translator, as an interpreter in Japan, and then I worked as an Italian teacher, but sometimes I also worked in Italian restaurants, and whenever we serve a proper Italian coffee to the Japanese, some like it, maybe the older generation, but for some Japanese women particularly, they described it as koi. And koi is the word that the Japanese use when something is very intense but a little overbearing. That's the term that they use. Koi desu ne. That's sometimes, and sometimes they say, you know, because it can be a little, it's quite strong Italian coffee when it's like properly made. Dairy Dreamheart says, yeah, dairy products are an essential food category and staple for me. I love cows in my stomach. Well, the cow in your stomach wouldn't be classified as dairy. Dairy is what the cow makes. The cow is just meat. Oh, yeah. Are you aware of the reputable cuisine historians of any? No, not really. I don't know. Have you ever been to Pasticceria Rocco, New York City? It's on Bleecker Street. I've been to a few pasticcerie in New York, but I don't remember the name, so I don't know if it's that one. I do remember a few pasticcerie, one of which was very famous. They had like a lot of French and Italian desserts, and it's pretty good. Arancina means little orange. Yes, so arancino makes no sense because arancina is feminine. So as someone from Palermo, I agree, at least on our side. But then again, on the eastern side of Sicily, they do for orange. I think they say arancio. We say arancia, but I think in their version of Sicilian is masculine, and therefore it does make sense, at least in their version, to call it arancino at that point. So yeah, I'm not into Casumarzo. No, they can keep that numb leaf. They can have it. There are so many good cheeses in Italy. I'm like, why the heck? Well, I can understand it, like in the freaking Mesolithic. I mean, that's what they had, I guess. In Bronze Age, you're like, hey, I don't know, we got this cheese. It doesn't look great. Well, try it. And that's all we got to eat. Then, sure, I guess, fine. But today, I'm not eating that. Just like I'm not eating natto in Japan. I hated it. I hate natto. And one thing that pisses me off about natto is that, okay, the Japanese like it, and that's fine. If you're brought up with it and you eat it, and then it's like an acquired taste, I guess. And then some Japanese really love it. And I'm like, great, I'll have ramen. You have all the natto you want. Help yourself, please. I'm not going to have it. I hate it. With that being said, when I see, sometimes I see Westerners, I know they don't like it, but they have to pretend. They have to be like, oh, no, I like it because I'm special. I'm different. Maybe there is one every 10 that is genuinely liking it, but I think a lot is just showing off so that the Japanese are like, hey, sugoi, suki desu ka? Oh, sugoi desu ne, Nihonjin yori Nihonjin desu ne. And then the guy or girl feels so special. I'm like, no, I'm going to be honest about it. I hate it. I hate natto. It's disgusting. Thank you. Commercial for Galbani ricotta happening right now. Ooh, that's so funny. Ads are listening to a conversation, guys. Yeah, there is one conspiracy I'm willing to believe. There is one conspiracy I'm willing to believe because it makes sense that they would do it from a marketing perspective. So there is that. 1 second, please. One moment. Sì, pronto?
Ah, ciao, mi hai risposto subito.
Sì, sono in onda in questo momento.
Ah, allora, niente, allora.
Sì, ti ho risposto così non ti preoccupavi, così non ti preoccupi.
Vabbè, allora, non so, domani, va bene?
Sì, ci sentiamo domani. Vuoi dire buonasera agli ascoltatori? Vuoi dire buonasera?
Se vuoi,
Sì,
che
sì.
ti dico buonasera.
Sì, solo buonasera, vai.
Va bene. Buonasera, ragazzi.
That's my
Hello,
dad.
boys.
Hello boys, he said. Va
Va
bene,
bene.
va bene, grazie papà, ci sentiamo.
Ciao, Gioia, buon lavoro.
Ciao, a
Ciao.
domani. Ciao ciao. So that was my dad. That was my dad. Good evening from my dad. Hello, boys, he said. He doesn't speak English, but he did know. Hello, boys, to his credit. My dad from Udine, Friuli, Venezia Giulia. That's my dad. Natto isn't bad, just the natto webs. Yeah, that's the thing I can't stand. It looks like mucus. It's disgusting. I hate it. L'ha perso completamente l'accento friulano. It depends, Pedone. It depends on when he speaks and what he says. Sometimes, yeah, but other times you can tell when he starts saying like, when he starts using his bon, or he says mandi and stuff like that, then you can tell. But other times, yeah, he just... His brother, however, if you listen to his brother, my gosh. The funny thing about my father's brother is that whenever he speaks, I don't know why, maybe because he's like older, but basically, first he started losing nouns. So he couldn't remember how to say like nouns, right? Then he started losing adjectives. Then he started losing. So basically, he swapped every noun and every adjective and a few verbs in every conversation with coso, cosare, which means thing to thing. And basically that's what he sounds like. He swaps everything. Ho parlato un po' con coso, abbiamo cosato insieme. It's impossible to understand what the heck he's on about. He just doesn't use nouns. I'm like, can you please use nouns, uncle? Because I don't know. Even people's names, he doesn't know people's names. He just called them thing. So he would be like, I spoke with thing. Ho parlato con coso. And detto, who's thing? It's so funny. Oh my gosh. I've spoken with thing. And she told me that, I spoken with thing about thing. And she told me that thing was going to thing a little bit. That's how he speaks. I would rather speak Mandarin Chinese. And I would be like, 你好,你是不是中国人吗? No, if I do 是不是, I shouldn't put 吗. 你是不是中国人? 你是中国人吗? I would rather do that than having to translate what my uncle says. The Lama 90, oh, how cute. Hi, Dad. Yeah, my dad is cool. My dad is fun. Thank you, Baby Yoda, for becoming a member. Since you're a member, I want to let you know that tomorrow we have a members-only stream at 5. And again, everyone who isn't a member can still join, but the chat will be members-only. And if you stick until the end today, the last 30 minutes of the stream are also members-only chat. It's my way to say thank you to people supporting the channel. Although then again, it's thank you to everyone, of course, which is why I decided to do 20 streams a month. I mean, like, I can't just do 4 streams I want to do 4 streams, I thought, for members. But what about the other people? Well, let's do 20 streams a month, so I can do 16 for everyone, and then at that point, I won't feel bad about having 4 streams for the members. That's me. 你是意大利人？对，我是意大利人，但是我会讲一些普通话。And thank you so much for 5 Metatron membership, Buster. I really appreciate that. You're the man. Thank you, DR, for the generous donation. You guys are awesome, as always. What is your opinion of Skanderberg of Albania? I haven't got a clue who that is. Skanderberg of Albania? I don't know. I wouldn't know. Apologize. Do I speak Turkish? No, unfortunately not. I don't even think I've ever heard Turkish being spoken, to be honest. Never heard it. Buongiorno, Papa Metatron. You need an accent there. Let me show you. You need this. This is how you write dad in Italian, because without the accent, it means Pope. So you just told him, hello, Pope, which, by the way, is how my wife always mispronounces it. And it's funny. Foreigners always have a problem with accents in Italian, because what the accent does at the end, it shifts the stress of the word. That's what the accent is on that word. So if I'm going to say Pope, it's Papa. Papa. So the stress is on the first syllable, pa, the first pa, okay? So it's Papa. But dad is Papa. So the stress is at the end, and we tend to pronounce them faster. When a word has a stress, a little accent at the end, in Italian we tend to pronounce it a little faster, papa. But I guess that's difficult for non-Italians, because my wife is always, ciao papa. And I'm like, you just called him Pope. And she's like, I just called him Pope, didn't I? So yeah, that happens. That happens. Papa is potato in Spanish. Ooh, that's funny. And Pope is the same word? Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's that. I didn't know that. See, we always learn something during these streams. Who knows? He might become the new Pope. Yeah, you never know. Hey, if my dad becomes the new Pope, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. That kind of thing is both interesting and good to know. I agree. Dream hard. And then Huff says there's a lot of things that are normal in America but rude in Japan if you want that. Oh yeah, plenty. Like for instance, if you speak too loudly, in general, it's and that's even worse for Italians because Americans are already loud when compared to Japanese, but because Italians are loud compared to Americans, it's basically doubling down on the problem. And that's something that the Japanese would tell me when I first moved to Japan, but then I learned and adapted, I suppose. But yeah, that's how we are. So we're walking around, and as an Italian, I naturally speak on volume 9.5 out of 10. And I will be like, oh yeah, we can go, let's go. That's just how we are. And it's a little loud, so that could be a bit annoying from a Japanese perspective. And then another thing that it's rude in Japan is to speak on the phone when you are in a public transportation means of transport, whatever it is. Like if you're on a man, I'm thinking densha. It's in a train. If you're in a train or whatever, and you start speaking on the phone, it's considered impolite. So that's another one. There are a few. You also don't blow your nose usually in public. That's the entirety of like China is like that too. And I do remember like when I had a bunch of Chinese friends when I was in. They were like exchange students, and I was in university. And since Mandarin was my minor, and Japanese and English were my major, I would always hang out with the Chinese students because it would be a good way to practice, right? We could do a little bit of tandem, so where we both speak the language. And I remember this Chinese girl, she would always apologize when she was going to blow her nose. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, sorry for what? But that's how it is. It's a cultural thing, isn't it? It's a cultural thing. 2d6 sonic damage. Yeah, that's Italians, all right. And even more so in the south. I think we are louder in the south, although then again, northern people are also loud when they go watch football matches, so it kind of depends. Appreciate that, Narnian Railway. Thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. That could be a solution, Lonnie. If Italians only speak with their hands in Japan, that would work. So yeah. Hai sei Italian, so you're also Italian. Perché parli lingue asiatiche? It was my university focus was Asian languages and Western languages. I was doing a comparative so that I would study Asian and European languages and Asian and European history. That was my university focus. So yeah, it was good fun. It's the same pronunciation in Portuguese for Pope. Well, there you go. We all say Pope in the same way. Isn't that nice? Americans are very loud, including me. Well, yeah, compared to the Japanese, I think almost everyone is loud. Let me make sure I see all of the chat. Yeah, that's good. Do I like calcio with one C though, if you mean football? Do you want Internazionale to lose against Barcelona? No, never. I mean, whenever there is if it's like club football or soccer, whatever you want to call it, if it's an Italian team, I always support the Italian team when it's against another nation. But then within Italian club soccer or club football, then I do have my favorites. I always liked AC Milan, AC Milan. I always liked it. Of course, supporting Palermo since we moved to Series A. When I was young, it was in Series B, in B series, and so most kids would actually support northern teams. either Inter, Milan, or Juventus. But then once Palermo actually did become Series A, then a lot of people started supporting Palermo more consistently. In Japan, you can't smoke in the streets. Yeah, they have their own like smoking areas, don't they? Also, you can't walk around with an open bottle of alcohol. That's another thing. Talking about that, I did notice, and then I forgot to answer, that someone did ask me if the Italian granita, so the slush, was alcoholic, and no, it's not. You can give it to children as well. Granita is like great. Favorite color? Electric blue. If you want to learn to speak Latin fluently, I suggest to check out, unless you already know, the channel Scorpio Martianus and the channel Polymathy. They are both run by my dear friend Luke Ranieri, and he's an excellent Latin speaker. He's American. He also speaks Italian, by the way, so you can totally, if you have questions, you can type them in Italian if you prefer, or you can type them in English, however you like. But he's really good. Excellent speaker of Latin. Yeah, electric blue for the win. Absolutely. Yeah, Luke is great. He's a good sport. Once we met in Rome when I was finally, like after COVID, I was finally allowed to fly back to the US. That was before I got married. And so my wife and I were separated during COVID, but luckily they finally reopened the international travel and lifted the limitations so that I could fly. But then I had to, from Sicily, flew to Rome, and then I did Rome, New York, and then, that kind of flight itinerary. And when I was in Rome, because Luke was living there, I asked him, absolutely, Daniela, you're very welcome. You'll love it. I asked him, hey, do you want to have dinner together at the airport? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. At the hotel, sorry. So he came to my hotel, and then we had dinner together, and it was great. He's such a fun guy to hang out with. And the fun thing is that we can switch languages totally. He even speaks a little Japanese. Actually, I don't want to say a little because I don't know how fluent he is in Japanese. So I don't want to. He was conversational enough so we could speak. So basically, we would like speak English, switch to Italian, switch to Japanese, back to English. That's how we spoke. And it was really fun. It was really, really fun. Benjamin, have I ever played Final Fantasy Tactics? That's my favorite Final Fantasy. It's my favorite. Tactics is phenomenal. I have been thinking of making a video dedicated to Tactics on my gaming channel. So yeah. My second favorite Final Fantasy would be Final Fantasy X, because I really got into the whole love story between Tidus and Yuna. I thought it was wonderfully told. And in general, all of the characters are so... it's like they grow on you, and you really get attached to everyone. And the only other game that gave me that was Dragon Age Origins. Like when you really got attached to the characters to a point that you could put 50 hours into the game and not even feel it, and in fact caring for the characters. Only few games have that ability. And I think oftentimes developers, they should really learn from how these games really build up in a logical, consistent sense, and giving you depth, and then you do the side quests and learn more about the characters, and then it's really good. Sometimes games make the mistake that they tell you, like they start and they tell you, oh, this is the character, this is your sister, you need to care about your sister, just introduce, I don't know anything, and then she gets kidnapped, and then he starts crying, and I'm supposed to feel for it, and I'm like, I'm feeling nothing. Because you didn't develop the character. There is no character progression, and no developmental arch. And so I don't care. When that happens, I'm like, okay, can I skip? I would never skip a cutscene in any of the games that I just mentioned. And that's when really you know that these are being written well. Similarly, with Final Fantasy VII was another one that was very well written when it comes to the character's arch and development. Thank you for the support, Collapse. Questo è per esprimere l'invidia per la tua conoscenza del giapponese. Thank you so much. He says that to express my, like how much he envies that I know Japanese. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You missed Dragon Age Origins. We should download it and play it again. I guess we can probably mod it to like you could literally mod it like crazy, almost maybe turn it into a more modernly looking game if you really care about the graphics, and maybe do some gameplay quality of life changes. Dragon Age Origins is such a good game. What a game. Is there any other language you're learning now? Asks me Black. I'm still trying to reach fluency in Mandarin because I never did. I reached a reasonable, kind of a low intermediate. I'm kind of conversational, but there are topics that I can speak well, and there are topics that I'm like, I haven't got the vocabulary. Sorry, I don't know what you're saying. That's how my Mandarin is, and it's just got stuck in here, and I'm like, I need to finish this. So once I reach fluency with Mandarin, then I will move to another language. It might be a Nordic language. That's something I would love to learn at one point. We'd lovely to do. Dragon's Dogma is a great game too. I agree, Holfdan. Good to see you again, my friend. He's been joining every stream. I appreciate that. And yes, in fact, even Dragon's Dogma 2 looks pretty good to me. I downloaded it. I need to start playing it. Sorry you don't have a gaming computer, but then again, you could probably run Dragon Age Origin on a potato. Like, it's so old as a game that you could probably run it on anything at this point. I should learn Elven, that's a good point. You should try to learn Dutch. It's about as difficult as Japanese. Is it? Well, I don't just choose a language based on difficulty. I have to have like an interest towards the language and culture. Not that I don't find Dutch interesting, but there are other, as I say, I think I'm more intrigued by Nordic languages when it comes to that. Maybe because I'm a Southern European, so well, how are the Northern Europeans speaking? Kind of makes me curious. The other side of Europe. Maybe even as Icelandic could be cool, Dreamheart. Yeah, I do think you're correct when you say it's the closest to Old Norse. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 graphics are really nice. I agree. Duolingo has Klingon? Ooh, now that you say it, actually, I think you're right. I'll have to make a video review on the language channel, shouldn't I? Favorite dinosaur? It's gotta be the T-Rex. It has to be the T-Rex. If I'm not allowed to choose the T-Rex, then Raptor, but T-Rex. Yo, did that hater guy apologize? Never mind. Never mind. Like he's gonna do that. No, he's probably gonna double down and say that I don't speak any language and he can prove it. Because he doesn't understand what to prove means. And so he could just say anything and call it proof. So, yeah, I highly doubt it. It's pronounced arc. I apologize. I don't know why. Yeah, I said arch. Thank you for the correction. I appreciate. Character arc. Please cover Hindu mythology history. It would be nice. It's just that when it comes to mythology, every time I've tried on the channel, exception being from when many years ago I made a few videos on the yokai in Japan, those videos did well for the time. But every other time I tried to cover mythology, including Roman mythology, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't get views at all. I don't know why, unfortunately. Hey, Osmora, thank you for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. Thank you. The Mythology guy is a great channel, guys. Let's give him a shout out. He's really cool. Oh, I just remembered that at one point he asked me to do a collaboration, but we never did. I'll have to call him up on that. He's really good. He does excellent content. Because he hit 1 million subs, didn't he? The Mythology guy. Check him out, guys. 1,800 videos. Where does this guy... When does he sleep? Does he ever... How often does he post? 6 days, 1 month, 1 month, 2 months. Or about 3 times a month. Or maybe 5 times a month. 5, 6 times a month. He doesn't post very often. But he's got some good stuff. He's got some good stuff. So if you like mythology, you should totally check him out. You should totally check him out. Yeah. Mythology guy. He posts a lot of shorts. I personally think that's a wrong call. Because I've been studying this whole situation, like what should you do, long format, short form content, long form content, and all that. And I do believe that unless you have a channel dedicated to shorts, I think shorts destroy a channel. When you mostly focus on long form content, I think if you start doing too many shorts, what happens is that you get a lot of people from those shorts that subscribe, but they don't transition into the long form content. They just watch your shorts. And what that does is that you inflate your subscribe base. But then whenever when you post a long form video, what the system does is that they first use a small pool from your subscribers. They test the video, see if you guys click it. If many people click it, then they try another pool, and then it tries to send it outside the community. And that's how videos go well with the algorithm. But if you don't do well with your inside pool, you don't even get pushed to the outside, which is how videos cap. At like 20,000, 15,000 views, even when you have a large channel. We have all experienced this. It's always been a problem. But when you have a lot of people that are subscribing from shorts, you get a lot of subscribers, and then they will be selected randomly from the system as part of your testing pool for your long format content. But they don't click it because they don't care. They want to watch the shorts. And that actually makes your videos underperform. And then you start having horrible views. That's what I think. And there is a channel that I think, unfortunately, is a good example of this, which is why I completely stopped doing shorts, because I thought it was damaging. And it's Sell Swords Art. I think he was hit with this. Let me see if he recovered. Let me see. He recovered a bit, so I'm glad. I'm glad that he did. But if you check this channel, Sell Swords Hearts, and he has 1.6 million subscribers. But then again, his views are very low, and I get that too. So I'm not trying to shame anyone. I have it too. We're all fighting the algorithm. But actually, he's got better now. His views are getting better. There was a time when I saw him getting views that were like 6,000 views. Yeah, look at this, like 6,000 views, 6,000 views, 8,000, 3,000 views when you have 1,600,000 is not normal. And I think that this happened, unfortunately, because his obsession with shorts. Now, given some of his shorts, 1 million, 1.5, 700. So I'm not saying that this was the wrong choice for him. Maybe works great. I don't have access to his revenue. So it's possible that he makes, usually shorts don't make much money, but maybe he will tell me, no, Raf, let me tell you, I'm making more money like this. And then I'll say, great, then it was your right choice. It doesn't matter at that point. But I'm saying if you have a channel that is mostly focused on long format, as a suggestion, I will tell you, ditch shorts. That's just me. I could be wrong though, but that's what I think. What's your favorite game? Well, it's difficult to choose a favorite game, Ultra. It depends on my mood. I can't really pin one. It really depends. I can tell you maybe in a genre. They just want your shorts, 2020, Metatron 2025, exactly. Exactly. I need to believe somewhere, somehow, there is or was a toothless out there. Oh, I don't know what that is. That guy's a bot? Who? Sell sword? No, he's not a bot. So let's see. And then Tritermius says, I'm a native Spanish speaker and I've been learning Old English like Anglo-Saxon, but I've been interested in Old Norse as well. That's cool. That's so cool that you're learning Anglo-Saxon. Thank you, Evil, for the support. Good to have you here again. Just watch your last video. If 16 columns reduce to 7, why doesn't 1, 2, 3 then reduce to 11, which reduces to 2 actually on any anagram? Because it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. And I always try to be respectful and polite. But when I think something is nonsense, I will say it. I just can't stop it. And when it comes to Armando May, to me, everything that comes out of that guy's mouth when it comes to numbers is nonsense. And I'll say, I would tell him to his face. It's just that I don't think, because of this, I don't think he would ever agree to have an interview with me, because I would tell him to his face. Because to me, when you have an interview, I'm not saying that you have to be rude, but you have to challenge, in my opinion, your interviewers, the person that you're interviewing, and the things that they're saying, particularly if you're starting to make a point. And someone who does, there are plenty of creators that do a very good job when it comes to that, but I watched that video by Jay Anderson, and it looked like Jay Anderson was being very polite to both Filippo Biondi and Armando May, which I understand. I appreciate when people are polite. But there are some parts where Jay Anderson is like, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And what was just being said was complete utter nonsense. So if I was there, I would tell him, I'm sorry, Armando, but how do you get this number? How do you justify this number? Like, I would tell him that, because at that point, I'm like, I don't feel that I'm doing education. It's fine that if he wants to share what he believes, he can believe it. But it's like, and then when he says 36,000 years ago is when he dates the complex, the Giza Plateau complex and all the different temples and whatnot. But then I'm like, how do you add 26,000 extra years to the current dating based on what? And then he says, oh well, because we need to date the entirety of the complex. Meaning what? That's all he says. And when you make such a statement, you have to justify it, and he does a horrible job at justifying it. So I think it wouldn't last very long, that interview with me. I think it would just click away. That's what I think it would do. I don't like shorts. Yeah, it says Ben. I feel they just kind of leave me wanting more information. Yeah, and in theory, you can link them. You can do a short and then link it to a full video. In theory, but I haven't really seen it work very well. So there's that. Dungeons and Dragons versus Pathfinder. Depends on the edition, I guess. Bunch of numbers, there you go. Oh, Toothless is the main dragon in How to Train Your Dragon. I did not know that. Drink Moroccan oil for your hair. Never heard of that. Sombra Lon says, Jesus had copper alloy skin tone. Only the feet. And you know me, I'm precise with translation. So let me see. Oxidized copper. Does copper even oxidize technically? I know it tarnishes and it gets the patina, but would that technically be oxidation, or is it only iron? I'm not sure. Not a metallurgist. Did you do something to the sound? It's better now. I think I'm just closer to the microphone. I think that's what it is. It was molten bronze. The rest was copper alloy. I don't know what you're talking about. The face is white, by the way. That's one thing I want to tell you. So at one point, I don't know if he's trolling, but it doesn't matter. At one point, we were translating from Greek. It was me, Luc Ranieri, and I think it was Raffaele Turrigiano as well. But anyways, we were looking at the Greek of that passage in the Gospels, in the New Testament, that describes Jesus after he's resurrected, because we wanted to address this. Does it actually mention the skin tone? So we were looking at it, and then we looked at the word used to describe the feet, and it does say bronze. However, it's talking about molten bronze, and as he was saying, but if we really want to use, like, what is the Greek word used exactly to mean molten, it's a word that could be translated as to fire. So when you put something in fire, so basically like fired bronze, if you really want to go ultra literal with the translation. But anyways, molten bronze, that's the idea. And then we were discussing, like, what could this be translated? Let's see the relevance. Let's see, are the passages used in the same way? And then we looked at the face, because on that very passage you have the description of the face of Jesus and the hair of Jesus. And when it comes to the hair, it says two things, and it says the hair was white as snow, white as wool. And notice that it's not talking about the touch. It is not talking about that. It's talking about the color, full stop. Because some people say, oh, he had woolly hair. No, that's not how you translate it. We found all of the different other ways that terminology is used in the classics, for example, still with the same version of Greek. And it just says it's white as snow. Yes, it's white as wool. So it's, imagine if I told you it's white as my headphones, white as this cap. So it's a confirmation just to tell you the color. That's all it's saying. But then as we kept reading, we found something that we stopped for a moment and we are like, ooh, if we read this, we're gonna get some backlash. And then we read it on the video because you know me, I don't care about that. But in the actual Greek, it says his face was white. It says that. Now, personally, I think it doesn't just say the hair. It says the face of Jesus was white. Given it's once again resurrected Jesus. And personally, I wouldn't interpret it as white in the sense that he was a white European looking, of course. But I would translate it as white in the sense that is his countenance, that it's emitting light. But it does say the face is white. So for all those who say, oh, the scriptures say that Jesus was black, if you're going to say that, then do know that the scriptures, if you're going to go, it's stupid to focus on these topics. It doesn't matter. First, Jesus looked like someone from that area, Roman Judea, would have looked like a Semitic man. That's what he would have looked like. I personally imagine him to be a little tan, mostly because he was working with his father outside, woodwork and all that. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. It's not the important aspect of Jesus is obviously not the color of his skin. Regardless, though, if you're going to do that and tell me, well, the scripture says, well, if you're going to go into the Greek, then it says his face is white. What you're going to do now? I'm just telling it how it is. That's what the scripture says. Yeah. Do I speak Greek? Speak like they're going to have a conversation now? Unfortunately not, I wish. Maybe one day. Do you think Koine Greek can help to get a better interpretation of the Bible? Of the Gospels, yes, but I disagree with Amon Hillman when he says that Greek is the original translation of the Old Testament. I disagree. I think it is Hebrew. And then Greek is a translation. Regardless of that, I'll make a video to address that, all the points linguistically and justify my positions, of course. Although then again, he's the one making the claim, so he's the one who needs to justify it. When it comes to the Old Testament, I kind of side with traditional academia when it comes to that. But regardless, yeah, sure. If you know Greek and you read the Gospels directly in Greek, I think it can help. Of course, if you're reading them because of a linguistic and cultural analysis, then yes, absolutely, you will grasp details in an interesting way. But then again, if you're reading the Gospels for faith, then you don't need it, because the simple basic aspects that concern to faith, they're perfectly understandable regardless of what language you read and regardless of what version you read. And what I mean by that is that even though you have many versions of the Bible, and the differences between these versions can be significant. They can be significant when you read King James versions as opposed to New International Translation, as opposed to Pauline, Edizioni Pauline, which is one of the most common ones in Italy. Whatever you're reading, the differences in translation are significant, but there is no Bible in the core message. It's like, oh, this translation said Jesus was resurrected. This other translation says, yeah, the tomb opened, but he was there, and that's the end of it, guys. GG, I'll see you. He never got resurrected. That doesn't change. So the core message, you don't need Greek nor Hebrew for the core message. But if you're like me, and you love to deep dive into the culture, the language, but what did they exactly mean? What is this word? How do you connect it from their perspective? Because you love that, absolutely dive in as deeply as you can. That's how I say it. Tiger Star asks, video on homosexuality in Celtic cultures. It is a very interesting topic, but I think before that I would like to produce a video on homosexuality in feudal Japan. That would be one I wanted to cover first. And then maybe, sure, we can talk about that in Celtic cultures, even in Norse cultures could be a good... I think I'm well equipped to talk about that because I don't push any politics. So I'll just tell you what the sources tell you. I don't care about, oh, I need to spread this message or this counter message. I don't care about that, so I would just tell you how it is. Hell's Gate, thank you for supporting the stream. I've been having some interesting conversation with ChatGPT about the extracted direwolf DNA creating a chimera, the result of which are objectively unforeseeable. PS agreed. DOA rocks. Yeah, no, it's Dragon Age Origins. Yeah, ChatGPT. It's fun. I personally just use it as a language model to practice my languages. It's great. I just tell you switch language and then we speak a little bit in Japanese and then I practice a little French and I speak Italian out of nostalgia and that's it. I think the mic was picking background. Oh, okay. It's the mic is picking up the air conditioning, and when the air conditioning stops, then probably sounds better. I apologize for that. I could lower a little bit the sensitivity of the mic, but then you will also hear my voice. If it's not too distracting, I would keep it as is. Let me know. Hey, Craig Gunford, good to have you here. Have a nice day, Jay Murray. You're awesome. I'm off to eat Mum's cooking. Have a nice day. Oh, that sounds nice. What did she cook? I wonder if he's gone already. But if he's not gone, let us know what did she cook. What did she cook? Did you beat KCD2? Not yet, no. I got distracted by other games, including Oblivion Remaster. Escape Velocity asks, do you believe he was really resurrected? Yes, I do. If you don't, I respect that. But I do. Christina Di Cali, some Jews are blonde with blue eyes. Well, yeah, the Semitic group does have a lot of variety. It really does, whether it be Arabs, whether it be Jews, Ashkenazi Jews, or Serafi Jews, or whether it be, I think I mispronounced that in English, but whatever. Even the freaking Akkadians at this point, or Phoenicians, like the entire Semitic group, you'll find all sorts of skin tones, and you'll find all sorts of complexion characteristics. So Semitic is very broad. Absolutely. So Jallo says, gay playlist incoming, love it. Well, let me tell you this much. I found this professor in Italy, because you know me, if it's someone crazy, I'll attack them, and I've done it. I don't care what politics they have. I really don't. If they say something is nonsense, I'll make fun of it. The thing, usually, not the person. But this professor cracked me up in Italy because you know how I made a video a while ago when I was like, you know, guys, you can have your whatever thought you want, but it's objectively, there are a lot of reasons why the ancient Roman Empire fell, and rampant homosexuality is not one of those. There are economic reasons, there are military reasons, there are invasion reasons, that are dealing with a lot of barbarians coming in. And then if someone were to ask me, yeah, okay, that's a lot of stuff, the economic problems, the rebellions, but what if you had to choose one word? I would say, sorry, one moment. But yeah, if I had to choose one word, I would say corruption. I'll get back to that, 1 second. It was just my wife letting me know that she's hopping in the shower in case I needed some food. She's like, you know how yesterday she brought me cheese? She always brings me cheese. Anyways, this professor was kind of on that line of thinking. He was also saying like Rome fell because of the gays and all of that discussion. But then I'm like, yeah, but I've already discussed this. I presented what I think is the evidence. Not to mention that when Rome fell, it was Christian. So if anything, there was less rampant homosexuality, at least in the public. But whatever. I'm like, I've already talked about this. So I'm not going to talk about it. But then I found a section, and I'm going to make a video about it because it's just too funny. There is a section about the claims that this professor makes in Italy. And he says, the Roman Empire was invaded by barbarians because of homosexuals. And I'm like, so what do you mean? Like, what's about it? Like, what? How do you connect? And he literally, I started laughing my head off because he said, well, yeah, because the barbarians heard of all of the homosexuals in Rome. And so they're like, oh, we need to go and get some of that. And so that's why they invaded. So let me get this source exactly. So I'm like, let me get this straight. The barbarians are like, oh, Rome has got the gays. We need to go there. We need to go there because the Romans have got the gays. And I was like, couldn't they have their own gays at this point? I'm sorry, in the steppes? Did they have to go to Rome to do that? It's the lack of logics when it comes to this, particularly when they connect it to history, and when we know why a certain phenomenon has happened. That like this professor was really, yeah, you know me. It's sometimes it's this, and then other times I open another tab, and I get the Vikings. They didn't have shield maiden weren't female. They were transgender because there were women that identified as men, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like it doesn't matter where you look. It doesn't matter where you look when they're trying to push something. They will take the facts and they will twist them, and at that point, me and the team will look at that and we'll be like, can we get back to the evidence and maybe discuss what's actually happening in ancient Rome or in among the Norse? Also because the whole situation that they had, it was full of tabs. It was like, no, this shield maiden was transgender, and then someone was like, no, she was a woman warrior, no. And then we looked into it. You know what we found? Do you want to know what we found when we looked with the team, me and Professor Canestrelli? We really looked into it. Well, the museum in question, which is a museum in Scandinavia, they said these bones that were buried with the shield and the axe and the sword, they were moved. They were mixed, which means we cannot say which pair of bones belongs to which funerary set. So this entire war, this entire culture battle between these two sides, trying to say that whether that person, that fighter, was a woman warrior or was a person who was identifying as a man, was built on nothing. Nothing. And that's when I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna say I'm truth centric. That's me. I'm truth centric. I don't even care. Did this guy think the barbarians were only women? I honestly don't know what this guy was thinking. It's just one of those statements. Why are people actually searching these things in the past, says Syme? I think if I have to give you like an uncensored opinion when it comes to this, I think what happens is that people that push activism to the extreme and they try to find modern ideas and find them in the past, what they're trying to do is maybe initially they were trying to look at situations where it did objectively happen when someone was gay in the past, but it was deleted. That did happen. It's like, oh, this person was gay, but then people are saying that he was not, and then for whatever reason, and then they're like, well, no, we need to bring it back. And if that was when activists stopped, I would be with them because I just want to know the truth. So if someone was gay, not that that's the most important aspect of their life to me. That's not who they are, it's how they are. But then again, if we're talking about it, at that point, you brought it up, then I'll be like, okay, what does the evidence say? So if people try to cancel that and delete it, then I'm against it because I want to know the facts. But then they start pushing it to a point where I think they started projecting it. And I think the reason is because they want to foster acceptance. The idea is they did it in the past, so it's fine to do it now. I believe that's the logics, but then I would say find the cases that are real. But like, for instance, I do believe that Michelangelo was gay. I believe it because we looked into it. I made a video about it. People got really mad with me for saying it because, again, I upset everyone. Similarly to how they got mad with me when I proved that the bones did not belong, so that was definitely not a transgender individual or whatever you want. They hated me for it. Likewise, when I said, guys, I really think, we read it in medieval Italian, his poetry, and the double entendre and all it's clear. I can't prove it, but that's what I believe, and people got mad. That's what I think people should focus on rather than projecting concepts that did not exist and then therefore become anachronistic. Being gay existed, although it's different to how it is today. But same-sex attraction has always existed. But if you're starting to tell me but people identify as this and favored pronouns and the transgender emperor, which is nonsense. The idea that Elagabalus was a transgender emperor is absolute nonsense. And it's funny because I actually did a video where I said that, and when I said it, people got mad. But then I found a video from a transgender historian that said the exact same thing I said. But of course, and then I'm like, are you going to get mad at this historian now? Or is it just because I said it? Does the truth matter? Or is it just a matter of who says it? That's the real question, isn't it? Gay used to mean happy. Yeah, I think you can still use it like that, right? Gay means happy, doesn't it? Yeah, and creating historical precedents for the positions. Absolutely, that's one of the reasons. Yeah, but as I say, you gotta base it on truth. You got to base anything that you base on something true, that is identifiable, repeatable, confirmable. It's gonna be a much more solid foundation to anything that is whatever worldview that you believe. But if you're basing on something that is false, then people like me will appear, spawn. I will spawn and debunk it. I will spawn, and not just me, and people much better than me, of course, at doing this. It is a form of confirmation bias, Giuliano. You're absolutely, in fact, it's selective bias. That's what it is. And we all, up to a certain point, have our biases, but it is important to try and at least control them up to a certain extent. So that's how it is. I said it in French because I don't know how else to say it. Double meaning? Maybe double meaning, yeah. So my opinion on that, it's a very good point, Craig Ganford. Thank you for sharing it. When you say use the word fact, I love the word fact, so I agree with you. When it comes to true having the meaning of faith, I think then you're using it wrong. Not you, I'm saying whoever does it. Because that's why I always think that to me, there is only one truth. And then there are hypotheses when we don't have access to that truth, because sometimes we will have access to the truth 100%. Like I can tell you 2 + 2 = 4, and that's the truth. Now, someone can say, no, for me, 2 + 2 = 5. Great. But the truth still remains the 2 + 2 = 4. And now this is an obvious situation, but like you can apply this to anything. Like this ring is made of bronze, and that's the truth. And if someone thinks that it's made of iron, just it's not that their truth has the same value as the truth. But there are situations when it comes to history, as you know, where we don't exactly know, and so we do need to create a hypothesis. But just because we may have 5 different hypotheses on the table, it doesn't mean that you have 5 versions of the truth. The truth is one, and maybe one of us will be right and the other 4 will be wrong, particularly if the statements are mutually exclusive. Perhaps there will be a little overlap, like I got it right on this, but I got it wrong on this other thing. But the truth remains. It is one. And what we present at that case, which is the fundamentals of academic discourse, when it's true academic discourse, are not truths. They're not truths. They are the closest thing we have. It can be theories, and by the way, theory is pretty high up in academia if you use, because sometimes people say, it's just a theory. Yeah, in the common sense, but a theory is actually pretty high up in in the academic sense. You know why I made the example 2 + 2 = 4 and = 5? You're like, why did you choose that one? Because Mr. Alec Gunter used that during one of the 2 videos he made against me when I was talking about the truth. And of course he believes in your truth and my truth and their truth and his truth. And therefore, to prove his point, he said, well, no, if for someone 2 + 2 = 5 and that's the truth and that takes them to the moon, then that's as respectable. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. 2 + 2 = 5 is not going to get you to the moon. That rocket is going to explode. But yeah. Objective truth. Thank you, Archen. I think this entire thing could have been simplified with that. Appreciate that. Exactly, Craig, like theory of gravity. It's a theory, but it's a fact. Exactly. That's why it's pretty high up. It's pretty high up. Do Roman legionaries have to stay in for 10 years, the Hobocop, what a name. I mean, the length of time when it comes to the service can be 10 years, can be 25 years. It depends on the emperor, the general, the time. So it really depends on the period, because that changes. Yeah. Have a good day, Darion. Alvarez, thank you for being here. Appreciate. Oh, guys, I wanted to show you something. So yesterday night, usually at night, it's when I play games live on Twitch. And yesterday I built something and it's still here, so I kind of want to show you. This is what I do. Yeah, exactly. Theory, and then there is law. Thank you. Thank you. The colloquial use of theory corresponds in science to hypothesis. I agree. That's very, very well explained, Evil. Thank you for that. So look what I did. So when I play my games at night at 11:30 or 11 p.m. Central Standard, that's when I usually go live on Twitch for gaming. I created this, which I thought was really cool. So I'm kind of proud of it. So basically, when I go live, I begin my live streams on Twitch like this. So I am here. Hello. And then on the side, I'll show the games that I'm going to play. And yesterday we played Oblivion and Alien Trilogy for PlayStation 1, so that whoever joins the stream, maybe we are talking, they can see on the side which games, and then I renew that depending on what games I'm playing that night. I thought it's pretty cool. I know it's nothing, like there are streamers that are very special, yeah, but I'm not, I'm new to streaming, right? And so I kind of get excited when I manage to do this kind of stuff, and we will play, yeah, tonight I might play some Daggerfall. Lone. We'll have to see, because I need to do some editing as well. Well, let me change it so the people join now don't think that I'm going to play right now. But I thought it was really cool to have the little games on the side. Anyways, yeah, if tonight I go live, I'll play a little Daggerfall. Maybe continue Oblivion and then switch to Daggerfall. But when it comes to... I don't know if I'm going to go live tonight, simply because I do need to do some editing. Because I need to post on the second and third channel as well. I love Alien, Daniele. Absolutely. Even Alien Isolation is pretty good. Alien Trilogy is phenomenal. I love it. I love it. I just love that PlayStation 1 low poly graphics with the low res textures. I wouldn't change a thing. That's why I love Valheim, one of my favorite games, because of those textures. And but yeah, Island Isolation is a really good one as well. But then when you get late into the game, I always get stuck. Daggerfall, Unity or Vanilla? I tried Vanilla last time I played. This time I want to try Unity to see how it changes. But again, I'm going to keep the graphics as they are. Old school. Yeah, the game gets stressful, particularly when you have to deal with the robots that you can't fight, the androids. I find the androids more annoying than the alien. The alien is cool. The fact that I gotta be careful, oh my gosh, the alien is around, I love that. The xenomorph. But the androids were always a little annoying to deal with, and then they get a bit much later in the game, if you know what I mean. Hey, Winter Suns, good to have you here on Twitch. Hello, hello. Thank you, Greyman, for supporting the stream. Violent, vicious apes can't have multi-choice truths. We barely can hold it together over sport and love. Imagine having different views on reality. Yeah, I wish people learned to debate civilly. And, you know, that was the base of... That is actually, maybe it's the only thing that I agree with Amon Hillman, because I disagree with a lot of the stuff he says, but he did say that in the past, the gymnasium, the idea of having debates over stuff and using them as a way, as a proficuous method of searching for truth, and you know, that's the one thing that I think we should gain from the ancients again, if you know what I mean. Die Hard Trilogy, I played it a little bit, Mouse Potato, the other night. Man, I love my PlayStation 1 era games. So, it's one of those things, I suppose. Good to have you here, Sausages of Valentia. Classic Greco-Roman win, I agree. I should play KOTOR of May the 4th. I don't know, on May the 4th, I don't know what that is. A video looking sources for description of how hammers, etc. defeated plate armor when they did. Denting only, yeah, denting would happen depending on the material. Like if it's heat treated, I doubt it would dent. If it's medium carbon steel, but it's properly heat treated, I don't think it would dent. When it comes to if they had like iron or even like low quality steel and you have a good hammer and you hit them right, then yes, it will dent. You can dent mild steel even with a good hammer hit. So it really depends. Did you play Tenchu on PS1? I did, but I think it's Tenchu. It's not Tenshu with an S, it's with a C. Because Ten in Japanese means heaven or heavenly, and Chu with a C means punishment. So Tenchu means heavenly punishment. That's the name of the game. And yeah, but my favorite was Tenchu 2 because you could create, edit, and make your own custom maps. That one was my favorite. Tenchu 1 is good, but Tenchu 2 was like top notch. Oh, May the 4th, I see, like Star Wars. I see. Yeah, Max says, for being an accused demon-possessed man, Hillman seems like a nice guy who never got off his last drug trip. Yeah, I mean, it does look like very like this, so I don't know if he's using something. I hope not. I hope not. I don't know. I just hope not. Maybe he's just like that. It's his personality. Maybe he drank 15 Red Bull. I don't know. But I did find it funny when Bob Larson we kept insisting that Amon Hillman was possessed, was demon possessed, and the devil, and he has a devil, and the curse of Ammon. He said all of that, but then he complained that he was being rude. I'm like, I'm sorry, are you expecting a demon to be polite? Which like it's the logical connection. You can't have a cake and eat it too. Either you say, I don't believe this man is demon possessed, and then you say, so can you please stop being an asshole and don't be rude to me because I'm not being rude to you. That's one way to put it. Although then again, Bob Larson was being rude to him. But I'm just saying, that at least would make logical sense. Like, can you please not be rude? And then if he says it's the devil that made me do it because he trolls with it, Amon Hillman, then you can say, well, you know what, I don't believe you're demon possessed, so please don't use that as an excuse. Can you please not be rude? Let's keep it civil. But if you keep saying this guy is the devil, I'm speaking with the demon, and speaking with the demon, then yeah, at that point you can say, Satan, you're being too rude to me. I don't appreciate that. Could you please not stop swearing? Literally, he complained about the swearing. So like, you gotta choose. You gotta choose. At that point, you gotta choose. Yeah. Bad Satan. Bad. Behave. Exactly. Exactly. It's like, come on, you keep saying that this guy is a literal devil in front of you. And they even put in the title the Antichrist. But he's being rude, and I don't appreciate that. Also, one thing that I didn't say on the video that Bob Lawson said, he said that he did 50,000 exorcism over the space of 5 decades. That's 3 exorcisms per day every single day. What? It's how? How'd you do that? Like, it's maths at this point. You can split. You can literally, if you make a statement like that, I'm gonna look. So you never had a day off, I suppose. Let's give him Sundays off. Let's give him Sundays off, I guess. So 4 days, you got 26 days left. Multiply that. Yeah, it's pretty much like, it's probably like, what, 2.7 exorcism? Let's just say 3 exorcism every single day for 5 days. I don't believe it. I think 50,000 is just like shock factor. Shock factor. Aniket, thank you for the support. What do you think of reading Genesis with the context of functional ordering instead of modern material origin view, according to Old Testament scholar John H. Walton? Well, I didn't read or listen to the position that this scholar has, so I can't really comment on that. I also don't know what you mean, context. I don't know what that means. Functional ordering. You'll have to give me more on that to let you know my position. Genesis, and also which part of Genesis are we talking about? Genesis 1:1. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, or are we talking about creation of man? Like, which part of Genesis? I'm going to need more to share an opinion if I have it. There are only 2 Predator movies. The first Predator movie is the only one I really remember, to be honest. Yeah. So essentially, Satan is rude. Yeah, Ben. I guess we can say that. uh, Bob Larson has done more exorcism than the Catholic Church, so he claims. Oh, it could have been a Zoom call, group chat exorcism. In that case, you can fit. How many people have we got now, right now, on live stream? 334. Well, yeah, that basically would give me almost like a third of a year, 4 months worth of exorcism if I could do it in a live like this. I guess that's probably then it could make sense, I suppose, mathematically. So yeah. People don't understand that nowadays, unfortunately, demons have been romanticized in some popular media supernatural, various anime titles, says Tulka Varaya. And then, yeah, 50,000 Dami was busy, exactly, Legato. That's literally the entire life. And again, 3 a day? Could you imagine? How do you even drive? Like, what if, are they all in the same neighborhood? Do demons stick together in the same area? Is that how it works? Because imagine if one demon is in California and the other demon is in Tennessee. How are you gonna do 3 in one day? The power of wrath compels you. Ooh, I don't know who the best choice for a new pope would be, Empire. I haven't really looked at the cardinals and who they've got. Who is your vote? Who is your vote for pope? Says Veronica. Ooh, I don't really know who would be. Do you guys have a favored pope candidate? I know there is the man. I don't know the names, so I don't know how else to describing. I'm not trying to be whatever, but I know there is the black guy, the black cardinal, that he was one of the favored. There is an Asian one. I noticed that, and then that's it. I don't know anyone else who's gonna be pope. Is there an Italian candidate? Not that it matters really where the pope is from, but I'm just curious. What name are they gonna give him? One of the Peters, you think? There's one from Israel. Oh yeah, talking about demons, says Nevim. Doom the Dark Ages in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. Morgan says, Metatron, your family is blessed and loved. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Same to you. So let me see. Linguistic question probably to post. Several years ago, I listened to a guy make a rant on how the order of creation in Genesis was a misremembered record of the creation of language. Of the creation of language? Of course, he had no source or evidence, just this was revealed to me in a dream. I see. But you may have the linguistic knowledge that maybe. But like, I don't understand the creation of language. So did he connect it with like the Tower of Babel? Is that where he's trying to connect it? Like, I don't really know how to connect that. It is interesting though that the Genesis 1:1, the creation of, the creation story in Genesis, is actually a lot more concise and a lot shorter in terms of number of words if you read it in Hebrew when you compare it to English. It is a lot more concise, but it does contain still the same amount of information. It's a very dense section. I love that. Genesis is one of my favorite books, by the way, in the Bible. That's a good one, Nine Ball. So you say Dawkins is clearly anti-religion, but I'm pretty sure he has said he's agnostic and believes in the possibility of there being a creator out there and that we can't possibly know everything out there. He only says that because I watched Dawkins, and he only says that. He always says he's atheist. He never says he's agnostic. He only says it when they press him. So if because he will tell you, he will make categorical statements, Dawkins. He will say there is absolutely no God. He will say that. But when they press him and they tell him, yeah, but Can we actually know? What do you think of the agnostic position? Is it something that we can actually know, or could there be a possibility? Then he will tell you, well, yeah, of course we can't know for sure. He will admit that, but you need to press him for it, because if you don't, then he will just tell you, he will make the militant atheist statement. But yeah, probably at heart, like, yeah, as I say, I've seen him being pressed twice on it, and he always gave the same answer. When he's like, yeah, we can't possibly know for sure. That's what he said. But again, he needs to be pressed for it. So I don't think I would classify Dawkins as an agnostic. I think he's an atheist, as he professes. I mean, that's his choice of language, and I respect his choice of language at that point. Yeah, exactly. Tulkavar on Twitch. Genesis 1 on his own can keep you busy studying it and its implication for a month. I agree, even longer than that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Leticia asks me, what are your thoughts on Jordan Peterson and his interpretation of the Bible? So, every time I watched videos by Jordan Peterson, unfortunately, they weren't about the Bible, so I would have to watch his content on the Bible, which you're not the first one who mentions it, so maybe I'll watch him in my free time one of these evenings. I shall see what he thinks. But every time I watched Jordan Peterson express himself on other topics, one thing I like is his incredible ability of expression and word choice. He's very articulate. Sometimes, though, to the detriment of the points that he's trying to make. Like, sometimes he'll present thoughts in a way that I'm like, man, this is an art form. But other times he'll go into these circles, and I'm like, I lost you, man. Wait, what? What is he? I'm sorry, what? So it's really kind of a situation with Jordan Peterson that sometimes I like the way he expresses his ideas, and other times I'm like, you lost me, man. I'm sorry, just no. So that's how I would describe it. But then it would have to be a very like case by case. So you would have to ask me, what do you think of this thing that he said? And then I'll tell you if I agree, if I disagree, if I don't understand him, which does happen sometimes. And yeah, it's one of those cases. But I think you know what I mean. I think you know what I mean. I think I recently watched, he said something recently where he was talking about how there is like a minority of people that are literal sociopaths, like psychopathic, and then they join a group, whether it be a political idea, or whether it be a religious idea, or whether it be a non-religious idea, whatever. They choose a group, and then they don't care about the actual core beliefs of that group. They only care about spreading toxicity and going nuts. And I thought I'm not doing a very good job at explaining it, but he explained it, and I think he nailed it. I think he nailed it, because you find people like this, and he was showing the percentages, because of course he understands psychology, and so he was showing the percentages behind it, and I'm like, I think he really nailed it, because I do find that, and you find people like this, and I'm like, why is this person like that? It's crazy. And then you find them, and usually they will connect to a specific group, and then they will bring a negative attention towards that group because they're being horrible about it. And he did a very good job at explaining that. I really liked it. But then I watched a discussion, a debate that he had with Richard Dawkins and Alex O'Connor, and it was a word salad show, and I think it did not perform well there at all, because Richard Dawkins, he was, again, I strongly disagree with him, but he was being very on point with his statements, and Jordan Peterson started going into this infinite spiral of words, and even Dawkins was looking at him like, do what? Like, and so that wasn't a great performance. So it kind of depends on the situation. Thank you, Howard, for supporting the stream. Metatron, you're wrong. I clicked this. He did it, guys. He clicked. What do we do? What do we do now? Well, now I'm not responsible if the stream goes nuts and we reach complete havoc. Then at that point, I'll tell you, man, I told you not to click. What can I say? Apoc says Jordan is currently in a very crazy phase and lashing out at his critics. Really, I haven't seen that. Is he going nuts on the critics? Probably not at the same level as Professor Dave, though. That guy is... I'll probably make a video about it one of these days. It's just funny. I want to see if he lashes out at me in the comments of that video. I want to see that. I'll try not to attack the person, but I'll try to attack the arguments, but it is what it is. Opinions on the Ark of the Covenant. Oh yeah, I have a lot of opinions on the Ark of the Covenant. Like, what about it? Hey, good night, por favor, 92. Por favor, 92. Hey, Higashi Martial Arts, so good to have you here. Hello. Exorcise him, says Random. Goodness gracious. Sociopaths are probably more common. Yeah, I believe you're right. You mean as opposed to actual psychopaths? My gosh, that word is difficult to say. Sophism, you're right, Empad. Yep, that's the category. It does hit a little bit of, yeah, like a sophist. You're right. Darth Metatron Sith Lord tonight. Yep, Jonathan. So nice to have it. It's so cool that I can see who's a member of the channel with the green. And by the way, in about 10 minutes, we will have reached the last 30 minutes of this stream, which always become members-only chat. But so people in chat will be able, super chat are still allowed, of course, but that's what I do as a way to say thank you. Because normally I would have stopped the stream at 7:30, but I always do the extra 30 minutes. There's a way to say thank you for the people supporting the show. Keeping the show going, guys. And after that, yesterday I made spaghetti. You remember when I told you I was going to make spaghetti? I did. Yesterday we went downstairs with the wife, got a little onion, sliced it, cut it in a little bit, very, very thinly. Then I put it in olive oil. And then hi, Rebecca, good to have you here. Then added the tomato sauce, made it, was great. Then cooked spaghetti al dente, and it was phenomenal. And then at the end, a lot of Parmesan cheese. And then while I was eating, we were watching, with the wife, it's a TV series. It's really cool. What is it called? Damn it. It's based on a book. It's kind of an older TV series about this guy, Agent Burke, and how he wakes up in this hospital, and now everything is weird in this town called Pinewood. It's such a good series. We've been enjoying it a lot. Every time, like, I finish streams and I go cook, I tell my wife, hey, we need to see Agent Burke. What is Agent Burke doing? It's so cool when you get attached to you get like involved into a TV. That's why I always prefer TV series over films, because I get attached to it, and then it gets a little addictive, right? I see my name as pink in Twitch, on Twitch. Really, I see it purple, actually. I believe people that I see purple on Twitch are you guys like subscribers? Probably. That's why you're purple? Maybe. Still figuring Twitch out. You know how it is. I think Italian olive oil, maybe. Yeah, it was extra virgin olive oil from Tuscany. I love cooking with that. Make your soffritto di cipolla, little onion. You cut it very finely, and then you kind of, it's not minced, but it's like, I don't know what the word, diced. Yeah, you dice it, and then make sure you don't burn it. So low fire, a bit of olive oil in there, so it gets the smell, the perfume, and then you add your tomato. And for me, you can get that in America. I should make a video tutorial how to make original Italian food, like pasta with tomato sauce in America. I should do that. Yeah, then Holfdan says onion, carrot, and celery. Yeah, that's soffritto with an O, and we call it the Holy Trinity in Italy. But I would do that rather than for regular sauce. I would do it when I'm making ragu, so like the meat sauce. Then totally I'm starting with that. But when I'm making regular tomato sauce, or maybe basil tomato sauce, I start just with diced onion. I personally like the golden brown onion, but you can also use the red one if you prefer. But personally, I tend to use the red one because it looks good if I'm using it on something else where you can actually see the color. Yeah. You can change the color to whatever you want. What, on Twitch? I see. But do I see it that way? Do I see it depending on the color you choose? Maybe? I haven't got a clue. My mother does a great bolognese. Oh, I believe it, my friend. Daniele. I believe it. I make a pretty good bolognese myself. When I do make it, it's just that I often don't have the time because bolognese takes a long time if you want to do it right. Diced. Yeah, that's the word, Howard. Thank you. Wayward Pines. Yeah, that's it. It's great. Pink is VIP on Twitch? Really? That's interesting. Did you know if you're a member, you get a stream, says Chanzig. Yeah, that's correct, on Friday. Every Friday, I have dedicated stream members. Yeah, that's right. That is correct. Thank you for the support. I don't like tomato sauce with tomato pieces. No, sure, yeah. We use, usually in Italy, we use the most traditional way to use tomato puree, which we call passata. Tomato puree is what you use. But you can also make it. When it's with tomato pieces, though, then at that point I'll make cherry tomato. So it's like cherry tomato with, once again, little onion, little olive. That's fresh. It's a nice way. It's a nice alternative if you've had actual tomato sauce too many times already. It's also a little sweeter because cherry tomatoes bring in a bit of sweetness. So if you choose the right type of cheese, it pairs well. But yeah, the tomato puree is the best way. Pommes has some excellent ones that you can buy in America too. Like if you go to Publix, for instance, you'll find it. Pommes. I'm going to show you at this point. I'm going to show you guys. So if you're in America, that's what you need to look for. This. As I say, they sell it on Publix. I don't know if they sell it at Target. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyways, to know if you can't find this, here's the trick to make proper Italian food. You get the bottle or you get the carton, you turn it around, you check the ingredients. If the ingredients are tomato sauce, it should be just tomato sauce. Because if the ingredients have a lot of stuff like parsley, salt, sugar, onion, then it means it's a complete sauce and you can't really use it to make sauce from scratch. Sauce from scratch should just have the sauce in it. Sometimes it will have a little salt, but generally speaking, it doesn't even have that. Generally speaking, it's just tomato sauce, puree, and then that's what you use, because then you can control how much salt you want to put. If it's a little acidic, you can add a little bit of sugar if you want to do it the Sicilian way, or some people even add a little bit of baking soda. Of course, don't put the entire freaking package. Just a little bit, but there are other ways. Like sometimes if it's a little acidic, you can counter that with the cheese you put on top, like a nice Parmigiano will do it, or even a Pecorino Romano if you want. Man, Italian cooking. I should make a cooking show. The Lava 90 noted. There you go. You'll find it's really good. I mean, I can make some proper pasta here, and it comes out just like back home. Just like back home. Just don't put pineapple, Bjorn. Just don't put pineapple. Cooking channel when I know I should do it. I should do it. Come to Argentina. There are good sauces here. I believe it. A lot of Italians in Argentina. I believe it. Then they must have influenced you. So yeah. You eat tomatoes like apples. It's nice to. Yeah, sure. I'll eat that. It's another type of salad that I love making when it's like evening time and I don't really feel like eating something too heavy. I'll take a fresh mozzarella, you cut it in pieces. You can do it with buffalo mozzarella too. You cut it in pieces and then you get some tomatoes. You can do it with cherry tomatoes too if you want. And then you slice them, mix the mozzarella and the tomatoes, and then you add a bit of salt, olive oil, and then some fresh oregano, or oregano, like they say in America. That's a caprese salad, and it's great. Some bread, if you have a baguette, so that you know when you get a little bit of the oil at the end, you can use the bread. So yeah, la caprese, yeah, caprese, from the island of Capri, which is the island near Naples, and yeah, that's caprese. I love caprese salad. My gosh, it's good. It's really good. I might make it tonight. You know, every time we talk about food, I end up making that. Hey, you thought I wasn't Italian? Yeah, that's right. You know what I thought? You know what I thought? I think that the hater guy that says I don't speak Italian, I don't speak Sicilian, and then he accused me of being a monolingual Anglophone, and he said, "Oh, he's just an American," which is impossible to think that I'm American, considering the fact that there isn't even like, obviously I'm not American. I don't have the accent, but he's not capable of recognizing that. He doesn't hear accent because his English level is really low. So I thought, why would he say that? And I know why he said that. He said that because when you click on my channel, it says United States because that's where I live. It's not deeper than that, guys. It's really not deeper than that. Because I was trying to understand. Maybe he thinks, no, that's the whole basis of his accusation. Clicked on my channel, saw that I live in the US, in the US of A, and then he thought, oh, then he doesn't speak Italian. And that was it. I figured it all out. I really do. How long is my hair, says Sombellan? Oh gosh, that's a very good question. I don't know. I mean, I just washed it, so now it's a little... After a couple of days, it usually goes further up because naturally it's wavy. But then after a few days, it gets a little straighter, and so it gets even longer. So today is actually on the short side. It's kind of short today. Let me see. Yeah, that's where we are on shampoo day. That's where we are, my friend. Yeah, you can add some basil. Oregano, adding oregano is my personal taste because when oregano is fresh, it smells wonderful. But then do keep in mind, though, that my mother used to keep oregano branches in the house, in the kitchen. So we would just take a piece of a branch and just twist it to get the fresh oregano rather than using powder version. So maybe that's why we did it that way. But yeah, if you want, you can put a few leaves of basil, totally, or nothing. It can just be tomato and mozzarella, and that's fine as well. Prepping for the shampoo sponsorship, I see. Yeah, that's what I need. I need a sponsor. I need a shampoo. Well, what are they waiting for? When will you cut your hair? I'm not planning to. I don't think I will. I mean, I don't want it to go further below my waistline, but I don't think it can. I think I reached my genetic maximum. I think. So I don't think it's going to continue to grow. But if it does, then I'll cut it so that it stays at the waist. I don't want it to go further down. In fact, it's not even reaching the waist. It's almost there, but I think it's like navel level, sort of. If I use a straightener, then it goes below. I tried, just for fun. My wife wanted to try it on me, and I'm like, yeah, go for it. So she used the straightener, and then my hair goes to below the jeans belt. Like, my gosh. Paul would be proud. Would he? But yeah, but I don't care what Paul says. I don't care because I'm not a Paulian. Please do a cooking stream and make bolognese, says Howard. Yeah, that would be fun. You know, I should do it on April 1st and completely ruin it. Like, do horrible things with the bolognese completely. That any Italian watching would be pulling their hair. That would be fantastic. That would be great. Have you ever, guys, have you ever tried spaghetti with tuna and lemon sauce? Tuna and lemon. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's literally olive oil, a lot of lemon juice, and tuna. And it's phenomenal. It's really good. Metacook. That's me. Cooking channel when. That's so funny. The cooking stream. Talking of Hell's Gates, thank you for supporting the stream. Talking of confirmation bias, some Christians see demons where they actually aren't. Sure, that's why we exclude the common explanation first. It's a good point. Yeah, sure. It is important to like keep. When you don't have certainty, you may come up with your own ideas and hypothesis, but always have to keep an open mind. So yeah, fresh tuna though. I mean, yeah, but it's good with canned tuna as well. Although then again, if you want a little more quality, you could buy the tuna in glass jar. Usually in Italy, that's an up. Like it's the next level from can to the glass jar is better if you don't have access to the fresh one, because then you have to cook it yourself and whatnot. But I love it. It's a fantastic pasta. You could just use regular in olive oil if it's tuna in olive oil. It's really good. It is good. Yeah, lemon juice and tuna is fantastic. Yeah. And it's very simple to make as a you it's very easy. So I'll tell you how to do it. It's very simple. You take spaghetti, you put them, you start boiling them, and while they boil, because this takes nothing, you take a pan, you put some olive oil, start fire, but keep it medium low. It doesn't need to be too high, and then you add your tuna when the olive oil is already a little warm. It doesn't need to fry, but you add your tuna. So if it's tuna stored under oil, you want to kind of remove the original oil and then use your new oil in the pan. You add the tuna, you mix it in with the fork, you let it get warm, and then you turn it off, remove it from the fire, and add a lot of a lot of fresh lemon juice to the tuna with the olive oil, and creates this little bit of sauce, if you will, and then you put it in the pasta. Buon appetito. Fantastic. What do you think of adding a little red wine to marinara sauce? Some people do it. Some people add wine into the sauce. You just have to be careful. If the sauce is acidic already, you don't want to do that. It's going to get too acidic. So it kind of depends. Taste the sauce first. That's what I would do. I'm hungry now. Sorry, Mark. It is inexpensive, random. Yeah, a lot of the food that is traditional tends to be relatively cheap to make. Did you know that it's mercury that makes some fish sweet? Oh gosh, I hope not. Canned tuna tastes like tin. Maybe where you're from in Italy is pretty good. We've got tonno rio mare. It's actually very, very nice. It tastes great. But as I say, get the glass jar. It's fantastic with big chunks of tuna in olive oil. Ooh, it's good. Thank you, Evil, for the support. Buggy needs a birthday shout out. Hey, Buggy, checks the reply in my last super chat, please. Check the reply. Oh, okay, I'll check it, but thank you and happy birthday to Buggy. So you did another super chat. Let me see. Also, your name targets your audience for views. I don't know what you mean, Chansit, but thank you for the $2. So my name, like Metatron, targets my audience for views? Or I name target my audience for views, like when I call them Muppets? Yeah, I do. You're Muppets. And Hell's Gate, talking about... Yeah, I read that. Cooking stream. Let me see. I don't see your other super chat, Evil. So, oh, there we go. I found it. It's the last super chat that I see from you, Evil. Maybe you meant a regular comment, because the last one was the one about columns, at least here that I see. And then there is the happy birthday, yeah. Oh, now I get it. My gosh, I'm slow. So, happy birthday, Buggy. And Buggy said it, and I didn't see it. I got it. Happy birthday, Buggy. Sorry about that. I'm a little slow tonight, guys. I haven't had my pasta. I have no idea, Kate. Never heard of that about polycrates, but that doesn't mean that, who knows? I don't know. Anyways, happy birthday again to Buggy. Thank you for being here. So, last 30 minutes, guys. We're going to switch to the chat. The live stream is going to still remain public, but I'm going to switch the chat as a way to say thank you to the members. It's going to be switched to members chats only. And we're going to do that. But thank you, Storm, for the support. Noble Ones, Muppets idea. We're all noble Muppets. Yes. So I did understand you. Yeah. Noble Muppets for the win. Always noble Muppets, guys. All right, members it is. We're going to do a little 30 minutes or so of members, and then we'll switch back to regular. We'll say goodbye, good night, and then that's going to be it for today. And then I'm going to go make that caprese salad. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the inner circle. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. So this is a good opportunity, I think, also for members. Maybe some members had questions and just wanted to chat, wanted to talk, and you maybe skipped your comments because there were a lot of comments. Here is an opportunity now. So there is that. It's Muppet time, says vote Shal. Yeah, that's Muppet time, all right. Peace out, the modern. Green World Order. Metatron, what do you think? Silva, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the inner circle. Metatron, what do you think about how with mist weavers, high elves have access to dark magic on the tabletop? I had no idea, so I don't have on the tabletop. So is it like the new rules? I haven't looked into old world yet, so I really don't know anything. Is it true that they changed the size of the bases? Apoc, if you follow all the rules of lineage in the Bible, then Jesus is not of the tribe of Judah, but of the tribe of Ephraim. There's a few key rules that make it so. I'll have to look into that discussion, because that would be pretty strong position to have considering the tradition on it. I had to renew. No problem, Silva. It's good to have you. I appreciate that. Thank you for the support, guys. You're really helping. Members is really becoming a massive help together with Patreon when it comes to the channel, because YouTube has been a Muppet in a negative sense, because Muppet can be positive or negative. That's why Muppet is such a useful word to use. And with the views, YouTube is not being great, so members really help. I really appreciate the support. Hello, Metatron. I asked earlier, well, there you go, and I didn't see it, to see if you can point me to a place in the internet where I can find info on my surname Tomasino. I had a classmate in middle school. His name was Tomasino. Surname. Exactly that. Where does it come from? Probably Little Thomas, if I had to. Maybe a diminutive of the name Thomas is what I would think. But I would just write Tomasino Italian etymology. That's what I would type, honestly. Maybe you'll find the origin, and they might even tell you which region has that name in a more common, like how commonly used it is depending on the region. But as I say, in Sicily, one of my classmates in middle school, his same name was Tomasino. Saint Nicholas, you could use a movement tray if you don't want to rebase, in my opinion. Yes, so they did change the base. A bit bigger the base are. That's crazy that they did that. But yeah, I'll use a movement tray. I'm not rebasing anything. I've got 7 armies. There's no way. Beethoven's 9th is humanity's highest achievement. I prefer Chopin over Beethoven. I love Beethoven. I love the Tempest, La Tempesta, the Tempest by Beethoven. It's a wonderful piano piece. But I put Chopin and Rachmaninoff on top of Beethoven. YouTube more of a pillock than Muppet, you're right. Palermo seems more likely. Maybe, yeah. For Tomasino, you mean, yeah? Could we have a short look at the Uncharted X video on the Egyptian vases? Maybe for another stream, but I will do it. I have it saved now. It's in the tabs. So I will definitely do it we could have a dedicated stream, but before I'll watch it a little bit on my own, and then if I see, this is good, then we'll watch it on a stream, because what I watch on streams usually then gets edited and becomes a video. So in order to, whenever I choose something to watch on stream or articles to read, is because I've already kind of identified that it's video material, if it makes sense. So I will definitely check it out. You think the change is good? Since it is hard to fit guys on some bases. I never had that problem though. And bigger miniatures always have the bigger squares. But then again, maybe it's simply because it's really annoying, the idea of having to rebase everything. So yeah, I'll use movement trays at that point. We can make them cool with a little grass, you know what I mean? Attached to it, little rocks. I have thousands of points of elves on bases, so I get it, absolutely. St. Nicholas Miss Weavers are in the Arcane Journal supplement for High Elves. I see. I don't know anything about it, so it's in the Arcane Journal supplement, not in the main book. Is there a member stream tomorrow? Yes. Tomorrow we begin at 5 p.m. Central as usual, but it's just going to be members. And then at night I might have the gaming stream as usual. So there is that. But yeah, tomorrow is full members. We're gonna have a ride, guys. Whatever you like, we'll watch, and then we'll have a good time. Not a complaint, just a different point of view. Absolutely understand that. Oh, I see. So with Galadriel, you're talking about TV over film investment. Yeah, there is something about TV series that I just love. Movies oftentimes is like after an hour or two is when it's getting really good, and then they have to rush to an end. Of course, they can make a sequel then, but TV series are great because I know there are like 3 seasons. It's gonna be great, 2 seasons and whatnot. Now Mozart, Verdi, Wagner. Verdi and Wagner, not really, but I'm a piano guy. So Mozart, sure, yeah, I like Mozart a lot, but I think Beethoven is more expressive. I'm more into the romanticism over the more classical ones. But Mozart has got some really good stuff. Something similar with Sauron. In the movies, he's perfect as a bad guy, I agree. 100%. Man, that helmet. It always makes me think of Conan Exile. There is a helmet that is kind of similar to the one Sauron uses. I love the mace, though. I love the mace. The mace is great. I think I just love maces. Bigger miniatures, the size of a mini giant, says Dr. Flay. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Alzermering on Predict. I appreciate to have you here. Tonight I might be playing more live streams, but yeah, I'm always live at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want, so you don't have to catch me online. Bec de Corban. I think it's Corban, like C-O-R. But I could be wrong, so I don't want to correct you and then be wrong. Bec de... Yeah, no, I was right. Corban. Because it's the beak of a crow. Bec de Corban. Bec de Corban. Yeah, and that's the bec, and that's the corban right here. It's the corban. So yeah, very close, very close. Raven beak almost. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, raven is a category of crow, isn't it? I don't even think do we have a separate word in Italian? No. For crow in Italian we say corvo. For raven, I think we say corvo imperiale. Imperial crow. So we still call it a crow, I think. On an interesting note, on a side note, did you know that in Old Norse, Vikings, so the Norse, when they were describing the color of raven, they wouldn't say they're black, they would call them blue. That's how they described them. Antonio Vivaldi invented 70s guitar rock in the 700s. Oh wow, that's an interesting way to look at it. Sam Presto, aka The Storm. Finally gets a bad rap. Well, no, it's good. I think it's just because rather than orchestra, I'm more into piano. So that's why... But then again, it depends, because piano concerts, like Piano Concert No. 2 and No. 3 by Rachmaninoff, are some of the most beautiful piano concerts with a full orchestra that I've ever heard, ever listened to. I've used raven black hair dye, which had a blue sheen. Makes sense in a way. Yeah, some birds have this characteristic that some even appear blue, and some they only just reflect the light sometimes into a blue sheen, as you say. In the majority of cases in nature, blue is an illusion when we see it in fish and in other animals. But there are some animals that are actually blue. It's just that it's very rare. In the majority of cases, they appear blue, but it's an illusion. And but when it comes to the Old Norse usage of the word blue, sometimes it's used because something looks blue, but other times it's used as a form of categorization, meaning that they will even include people or things that are not actually blue, but they use it because blue also gives them an idea of exotic. I think they even described black Africans as blue. And in that case, it's because they're far away, they're distant, they're foreign, they're exotic. And they do that with, like, they describe certain types of gold as red, and that was only to differentiate it from yellow gold, which I believe was the lower priced. But red, the gold that was considered red, is not to be considered, or maybe had copper content. No, it was just a classifier. They even say the sun is red. And we do that all the time, by the way, the classification or categorization. You do it in English. We say white wine and it's yellow. It's objectively yellow, golden yellow, but we call it white. And in that case, we're not being descriptive. We are using linguistic categorization. It's a classifier that we use in order to create groups, to neatly organize things. And we do it all the time. We just don't notice it. Rayleigh scattering. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, for the light. Maybe Bluetooth. Yeah, Bluetooth. Iridescent feathers. I love that word. Iridescent. Yeah. In Japan, they have in Japanese the word aoi, which is blue, and then the word midori, which is green. But their aoi will also include some hues that, to me as a Westerner, would already be green. Like particularly if it's in the teal aquamarina zone. Then it did happen a few times in Japan that I was like, could you pass me the green glass? And they were like, which one? And I'm like, the green one. Like, there are only red and blue glasses. I'm like, that's not blue, that's green. And I'm like, no, that's blue. I've had that conversation with a few Japanese. Not to mention they call stoplights blue. And even the expression, your neighbor's grass is greener, they have that expression in Japanese, but they say it's more blue. Blue is, yeah, fascinating stuff. Harald Bluetooth is where Bluetooth name comes from. Really? A king of Denmark of Norway. Is that where it comes from? Why did they call it like that? You confuse blue and green chocobos in Final Fantasy VII. Man, chocobos is so cool. Isn't it cool that that's their cavalry? But think about it, like even in Final Fantasy Tactics or in general in all Final Fantasy, they use the chocobo instead of horses. So you shouldn't call it cavalry. What should you call it? Poultry? Poultrily? What should it be? What should it called? What should we call it? It's not cavalry, it's poultry. Here comes the poultry. Avelry. You could call it dinner. That's a good idea, Chanzig. It's good call it dinner. Do you think anyone cooks a chocobo in the Final Fantasy realm? I wonder if chocobos are like illegal to eat, or if you can eat them. I think horse eater in Swedish is an insult. Is anyone from Sweden that can confirm that? I heard that Swedish guy tell me that once, but I don't know if it was just in his area. Ah, yeah, you'd need a big oven, Legetu. You're right. He was the first to convert his kingdom to Christianity. I see. Black mage cooks chocobos. Really, Benjamin? Benjamin. I didn't remember that happening. Man, I love Final Fantasy Tactics. I might play it tonight a little bit. It's such a good game. We farm cows, don't we? Well, yeah, but cows are not our cavalry for combat. So, like, there are cultures that eat horse meat, but it's, like, a lot less common. So that's why I was thinking, I wonder if in the Final Fantasy reality, if it would be rare, like for us. Like, some people do it, but most people don't eat chocobo because it's their horses. Could be. Could you imagine like a cavalry with cows? It could be rare, yeah. Imagine chocobo drumsticks. Cavalry. Cavalry. That would be the cavalry, yeah. Basashi, yeah, in Japan they eat it as well sometimes. It's expensive in France, is it? As I say, Eastern Sicily they make horse sandwich, but in the west of Sicily that's weird. We don't really eat it. Have you watched Good Omens? When I hear the name Metatron, I think of the old guy in that series. No, I don't think I have. Cavalry is fantastic. Man, we should try and draw it. We should try and draw a knight on a cow. That could be very interesting to see. How would you armor a cow? Cavalry. Yeah. Love this community. Seriously, we're coming up with the craziest stuff. You love horse meat? I heard it's sweet. I had it once. I don't remember. I think I did say it was sweet when I tried it. I just tried a couple of bites, to be honest. Monty Python gave us the catapult. Oh, yeah. Now Metatron gives us the cavalry. We got them all, guys. We got them all. The Meta Chad. Am I a Meta Chad or a Meta Chud? We'll have to choose that. At least with the Wokatron, we only have one choice, but with Meta Chad, we have two choices. Which one is it? We'll have to vote. We'll have to have like a democratic choice. I do like caciocavallo, yeah. So weird. It means cheese horse, and I don't know why. Maybe they made them not with horse. Yeah, it has nothing to do with horses, but maybe they made them. I have no idea why we call it like that. I don't know. I just know that's what we call it. I like caciocavallo. Yeah, when it's fresh, caciocavallo fresco, it's great. We always end up talking about cheese. Why? We always end up talking about cheese, spaghetti, pasta, pizza. Well, I guess. Why am I even asking? Why am I not asking? Metatron Legacy. Totally. Cheese is awesome. You're right, Dream. It's so strange that in Asia it was basically not eaten until it was not eaten. They didn't really eat cheese and they didn't drink milk. At least China. I don't want to talk about all Asian countries, but I know that in China it wasn't eaten and they didn't drink milk in the general population, and neither in Japan. I believe, did they start when they met us? I remember people saying that we Europeans introduced it, but I don't know. There might be now the occasional situation where you're like, no, because in this village in 1253 there is this one instance when they actually, okay, but I'm talking like generally speaking. I don't think that it was common for them to eat cheese. And if you think about it, even the idea that we can keep drinking milk, because milk is for babies. So the reason why we can drink milk is because basically we mutated. We mutated that specific gene, I think it's a gene, that allows you to digest milk even as an adult, and then milk products. And then some people don't have it. My dad being one of those, he can't eat milk. He can eat pizza for some reason, so maybe mozzarella is fine. But if he drinks milk, it's finished. Finished. Dairy was very normal in Mongolia. Okay, it makes sense. I mean, the Mongols were very different from the rest of mainland China. So it makes sense that they would have a different. Plus, I mean, population of the steppes, I guess, if people are nomadic. What did I say steppes? I meant like nomadic. If people are nomadic, it does make sense that they would eat more meat and that they would drink the milk because less farming, I guess. But yeah, Mongols on the steppes drank fermented horse milk. That's fascinating. I wonder if they made yak cheese. Who knows? I'll have to look into this. Make a nice video about it. People in Italy have to eat pizza. It's a superpower. Yeah, the only people that don't eat pizza in Italy as often are people that are allergic to gluten. I met a couple, but it's really difficult in Italy to, well, I mean, you will find gluten-free products, but man, it's what a curse to be born in Italy. And I met once a person that couldn't eat gluten and couldn't eat tomatoes. Like, oh my gosh, wrong country. Milk allergic myself. Yeah, same thing. I can eat pizza or cooked heated cheese. So, okay, so probably it's the way it's cooked that helps. I'm sure there is a chemical reason for it. Yeah, and Agapo was saying, yeah, the Mongols drank airag, which is the horse milk. Fascinating. Italy loves putting fries on pizza. That's true, baby. We do that, baby Yoda. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Although we call it American pizza usually, but it's not American. But we call it oftentimes that you either see it called pizza con le patatine, so pizza with fries or chips, or in some areas they'll call it pizza all'americana, pizza americana. They will do that. But yeah, it's pretty common, and it's good. It's actually very good. Admittedly, the idea of drinking another species' milk for substance is interesting. Do other species have that same custom, especially as adult specimens? I don't think so. But then again, I mean, it's the ingenuity, it's the resourcefulness of people, and you know, when it is good if you think about it to be able to, because you can have a constant supply of milk. Whereas if you kill the cow, you eat it a few times. I guess you can feed several people, but then it's gone. So it's kind of similar to what we do with eggs, isn't it? Pretty much. Yeah. Yes, we milk the eggs every morning here. Your grandmother can't eat gluten, milk, or wheat. You know what, Black Knight? What happened once? Well, I was in Japan, and at that point, I was working as a waiter at an Italian restaurant. And this Japanese customer, this was this Japanese woman, but she wasn't nice. All right, so usually Japanese are nice, but she was very like annoyed. She just entered the restaurant being annoyed. And then I'll go there to get what we call in Italian la comanda. So like you're going there, you're getting ready to take their order, and she started saying, "So I don't like pasta, I don't like pizza, I don't eat cheese, and I hate tomatoes." You know what I told her? I said, "There is a ramen place just around the corner if you want." I mean, technically, still kind of pasta noodles, I suppose. But why would you go to an Italian restaurant? I mean, it's fine. What we did is that we suggested that we cooked a pesce all'acqua pazza. So it's basically a red snapper fish, but cooked. It's a typical Neapolitan type of fish. But then again, it did have cherry tomatoes, but it was great with olive oil, and then you cook it in this kind of water. And then she loved it. She liked the fish. But man, she was annoying. She was really annoying. Like, she would be like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I had a blast with this woman. But then again, being at a foreign, like an Italian waiter, I could get away with comebacks that were kind of funny like that, but a Japanese couldn't. A Japanese would have been like, my Japanese colleagues, they would have been like, "Oh, sumimasen, oh, sumimasen, so desu ne, moshiwake gozaimasen." That's what they would have done. But me, oh no, I'm Italian. I'm going to tell you like this is going to be funny. So another thing she complained is when we brought her the fish, you know how we cook? You take a bunch of cherry tomatoes, you throw them in the pot, and then you cook it. It's not like you're going to count exact number of cherry tomatoes. So it ended up that she got one fish that she could split with whoever it was, with her friend, but then they had 5 little cherry tomatoes in the sauce, in the olive oil mixture. And then she said, "You need to give us another cherry tomato because it's 2 of us and there is only 5 of them." And that's something the Japanese do, by the way. They want everything to be mathematically perfectly organized, and that's not how Italian artisanal cuisine works. So guess what I told her? Guess what I told her when she said that? Once again, if it was a Japanese, it would have been, "Oh, so sorry." No, I didn't do that. You know what I told her? I told her, "Well, you know what you could do? Cut the 5th one in half." So now you have 2.5 each. That's what I told her. Man, I had a good time. I had a good time. Yeah. But that was very rare. That was very rare. The Japanese usually are very nice. You know, that was a very rare occasion. But yeah. Exactly. It's like you, Silvan. It's even worse than that. But Silva is saying that is like going to a sushi bar and saying you hate fish. I mean, but then again, in a sushi bar, you can still order like the little omelette on top of the rice. You can still have the pork on top of the rice. So there are options. There are options that can still serve you. It would be more appropriate to say that it's like going to a sushi place and say you hate rice and fish and egg. Because at that point, it's like, okay, would you like some tea? I don't know. Would you like some tea with your water? It's one of those things, I suppose. Reminded that in Japan, it's rude to clean your plate because it implies they didn't give you enough food, so the leftover tomatoes are a compliment to the staff. Yeah, 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 true, true. I think in China as well, it's not that it's rude actually. It's that what they will do, not really in a restaurant, but if you go to someone's house and they give you food, they will usually, if they've been traditionally very welcoming, they will present so much food that you cannot finish it. So yes, it has happened to me that if you're eating and they notice that it's finishing and you're still eating, they will order more because it's their way of being hospitable, as you're saying, to give you so much food that you cannot possibly finish it. So technically, yeah, if you don't want to be like, you shouldn't keep on eating like stuffing and then they keep ordering. That's a little bit, yeah. But yeah, no, that is true. That is true. In America, a lot of sushi places have sweet potato tempura rolls, but I'm not sure if it's an authentic or not. I've never seen it in Japan, to be honest. It's probably an American thing, just like California rolls don't exist in Japan. It's an American Japanese thing. Even the hibachi, which it drives me nuts why people say habachi. I don't know why. It's H-I and it's hi. Hibachi. Anyways, hibachi are not called hibachi in Japan, by the way. Just trying to remember how they call it right now. It's right now I'm missing it, but they don't call it like that. But they do have it. The fact that you have a plate in the center, and then you put the food on it, and then you cook it yourself, sort of to whatever degree you want. It's just that they don't call them hibachi. But then again, whatever. It's in America. It's fine. It doesn't matter. If it's a successful business thing, then do it. So she was like a rare Japanese Karen. Pretty much, yeah, Dreamheart. She was a Japanese Karen exactly. How about a nice bowl of seaweed? Yeah, there you go. That is a Karen, St. Nicholas, exactly. Japanese Karen, Dreamheart. Yeah, everybody's calling her like that, exactly. So, Metatron used his alien superpowers on the rude woman. Yes, I did. Yes, I did, my friend. You can get bananas on pizza here in Iceland. Oh my gosh, pepperoni and banana used to be a popular trend. I guess people like the contrast of sweet and savory. I imagine that's what it is, but I would just not put fruit on my freaking pizza. The only exception being tomato if you really want to be technical. But it's just me. Sorry, chat, I just realized I'm 7 minutes behind. No problem, Light. Not a problem at all. Can't eat mozzarella. Oh no. Mozzarella is so good. I love mozzarella. Buffalo being my favorite variety, but the best buffalo, it's in Campania. It's the only region in Italy that actually has buffaloes. I don't know why. Maybe it's and they've had them since the Middle Ages at least. So it's a long thing. I wonder if they had buffaloes in ancient Rome. Possibly. I'll have to review it. But it is possible that it's that old. It is possible. Or maybe not. No, actually couldn't be. Are buffalo native of... Wait, maybe what I'm saying is incorrect. And I do want to check it. Probably not. Where are buffaloes native from? Maybe they're New World. Well, we do have them now. It does say native to Africa and Asia. So at that point, let me see. Where the buffaloes in Europe in the Middle Ages. It became extinct in much of Europe. So it became extinct and then it came back, I guess. Interesting. Interesting. I'll have to look into it. The earliest widely accepted evidence of domestic water buffalo in Europe is during the Middle Ages. There you go. After 500 AD. Because I remember reading that. But then again, just because you read something doesn't mean it's true. So we will have to go deeper on this. But I do remember reading that. I guess Metatron doesn't like fruit on his pizza because then it'd be a fruit salad, I suppose. Yeah, different species in different places, exactly, yeah. It's similar to how, like, I think we brought back the horse to the Americas, but maybe in prehistoric Americas, the horse might have been there, but then it went extinct. And then when we arrived from Europe, we brought it back. I think that's the last time I read it. But once again, reading something doesn't mean that I like studied it, double checked it, checked with the sources, and reading the original. That's different. So whenever I tell you that I read something, it doesn't mean that it's like confirmed. But that's what I remember reading. Am I right, St. Nicholas? Yeah, the Spanish brought them back. Exactly, yeah. The buffalo in America is actually bison. Thank you for that. Yes, horses were in America, confirms Legato too. I do remember reading that. They just went extinct. So by the time, and also, since you're mentioning the Aztecs, you say since the Aztecs and such had no horses, exactly, yeah. And whenever I think of the Aztecs, there is such a massive difference, and I remember this blew my mind, between the Aztec civilization and, for instance, the Maya. Because we always think, well, Mesoamerican civilizations, and we always think that they are all super ancient, but they're not. The Aztecs, they're pretty medieval. In fact, of course, then they end because, the diseases really is the main reason. But in general, they got the disease was the main reason, and then they got submitted and all of that. Because there was also the technological gap, which was significant with European powers. But they're a medieval civilization. The Aztecs are not ancient. Absolutely not. The Maya go back really, really back. You disagree with the Saint Nicholas what with the disease, the power of the disease from Europe? Last time I checked this information, it seemed to check out. Sickness was more for Spanish control after the war. So you don't think? So how do you base it on? Because last time I read on this topic, I remember that it seemed to be pretty. They didn't know exactly what type of disease it was, but there were a few candidates for it. That too, yes. The fact that the Spanish won because some native allies revolting, yeah, absolutely. That true. And the tech, absolutely. I see, yeah. So pretty much we agree. It's just that we may disagree a little bit on how intense the role of the actual diseases had with the overall scenario, yeah. Benjamin, a great video on YouTube is the bison versus the bull. They fought them and it's cruel, but a good story. That would be interesting to check, yeah. And then Legato says, from grok, horses originated in North America about 55 million years ago, going extinct in the Americas about 10,000 years ago. Man, they went extinct a long time ago. That's crazy. But Mexico City fell to steal the native rebels and horses. So you're talking about Tenochtitlan. Is that the same location? Because I do know that the name comes from the Mexica, which is how they call themselves, since they didn't call themselves Aztecs. I think Aztec, the name comes from Aztlan, right? The original, yeah, same place, there you go. I think Aztlan is where the original ancestral place that people try to find, but they don't know exactly where it is. I even heard a professor once trying to bring up his own hypothesis, thinking that Aztlan would be in modern day Southern California. But then again, some of the stuff that this professor said was a little meh. So then now I don't know if I can believe in his hypothesis. But yeah, we don't know where Aztlan is. I think the Aztec texts that remain, because a lot got burnt, but I think the ones that remained point to somewhere north. But how far in the north, we don't really know. It is interesting, though, to think that however you want to look at it, Mexico is in North America. People always get confused and think that Mexico is in Central America. It's not. It's in North America. It's not in the United States, but it is in North America. I know they traded Vega, Bison, and Balrog around. Yes, Silva, that's right. In Street Fighter, you were saying. That's because Balrog's name in the original Japanese game was Mike Bison. Yeah, that's Mike Tyson, all right. I heard about the Sue threat. I don't know if he actually did or if it's like did he actually threaten to sue Nintendo, or is that a metropolitan myth? Is it a rumor? I don't know. But definitely Nintendo, I think, got worried that they might get sued, and so they swapped them around. I think Vega works perfect for the Spanish ninja, because De La Vega is such a typical Spanish name. Then why Vega used to be the name of what we call Bison, so the actual final boss, which I get it matches. But I think Balrog works really well for the boxer, and it did not pair well with the ninja, with the Spanish ninja at all. Vega is perfect for him, perfect. The Western way is the best way. Japanese names, no. Maybe, and even like Goki, I think Akuma is cooler. Like which means demon, by the way, in Japanese. One of the varieties, because I mean, a lot of Japanese monsters can be translated as demon, but some are physical, some are not, kind of depends. So yeah, it's fascinating stuff, guys. Fascinating stuff. Nintendo once sued a man in Costa Rica because he opened a store called Super Mario. His name is Mario, and the type of store was like a supermarket. Nintendo lost. I'm glad they lost, Luigi. I'm glad they lost. South Perspective, thank you for the $2 support. Have you ever traveled to South America or Central? No, not yet, but my wife does want to go. She said that there are some like beautiful resorts in Mexico, and she wanted to go. So at one point we will. And I mean, every time I meet a Mexican, we always try to start speaking Spanish and Italian. We mix it a little bit, and it's always a fun experience. So I think I would do that in Mexico as well. How would you make a burger if you had any ingredients you wished for right now? Cheese. I love cheeseburger. Just give me burger, salt, little pepper, and give me cheese, and I'm happy. That's it. Go see the Mayan pyramids. Ooh, that'd be nice. Oh, when the buffalo fought the bull, that's the name. No problem, Benjamin. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I meant that Akuma means demon, not Goki. I still prefer the name Akuma, though. I think it's cooler. My wife is Colombian, met while we were both studying in the UK. Very cool, Halfdan. Aren't Colombian women like famous for being the most beautiful in South America? That's what I remember. Retro games and metal music. Game Tal. I'll have to check it out 100%. By burger, do you mean meat or buns? Both, to be honest. Well, burger for me is the meat, but when you say let's eat a burger, at least in the States, you're actually talking the whole thing. But yeah, both. Well, biased opinion, but I agree. That's cool. You'll have to say hi to your wife from us, from the community. But yeah, cool. All right, guys. So I think I'm going to call it a night for tonight. I think I'm going to restore open chat so we can say goodbye and talk a little bit. But what I'm going to do remember that tomorrow's stream is going to be a member-focused stream. And then the end of the stream, I'm going to open it and we can talk a little bit, but it's going to be mostly a member stream. It's going to be good. And for everyone, it's possible that, you know, when... do remember that 5 p.m. Central is when I'm live, Monday to Fridays. But then oftentimes at night at 11 to 11:30 p.m. Central is when I play games on Twitch. So there is that. Time to make cookies. That's great, random. It's fantastic. The meat in a burger is called the patty. You're right, John. I love that you managed to get that one in. I'm glad that you did. The patty. That's right. The patty. Patty. I don't know. But yeah, guys, so thank you, GG, and bye, everyone on Twitch right now. It was good to have you all here. Thank you so much for joining the stream. And I will see you tomorrow for the regular upload. We'll see what video we're going to get, but probably something fun. First edition, Charizard, mint condition. I don't think I have it, no. Oops, I clicked. No problem. No problem. What should I make? Oh yeah, caprese, that's what I'm making. Alright guys, have a good night. Take care, thank you for joining the stream, thank you for the support. Ciao ciao. Ciao Alquin, ciao Galidorn. Take care guys.